to episode 202 of Coffee and Co-Read, your source for all things literary, with Kristen
and Catherine, where we believe there's nothing better than a hot coffee and an awesome book. Join us for our virtual book club where we take one book a month and dive into all of the drama, adventure, and romance we can find. Hey, Kristen.
Hi, Catherine.
So, this is our second week on Throne of the Fallen, and last week we talked about the many pre-book. They weren't all prologues. I don't even know what you'd call them all.
There was like an introduction, then there was a prologue, then there was a list of rules for the game. Like, there was just a lot in the beginning.
Yeah. So yeah, we figured we'd talk about kind of prologues in general, because, you know, some books have prologues, some books don't. Some books have what this book had. And there's always a bunch of different kinds of prologues. Like, some prologues are about the main character sometimes. And, like, I find this author, a lot of her prologues are, like, a bit mysterious-ish until you know what's happening.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What are your thoughts on prologues? Do you like them?
I think, obviously, it depends. I wasn't crazy about all this. Mm-hmm. And, like, my issue with myself is that I don't know how to fix it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, the author decided that this was information that we needed to know. Mm-hmm. And I do think, like, putting it out there, not in the story, and we talked about it last week, the whole, like, that Waverly Green is, like, Regency-style London. Like, you know, we did need to know that to understand, like, the dynamics of the people and how society worked. And I also think she could not have put that in the text. Yeah. Like, she couldn't have had, like, Camilla be like, oh, I live in Waverly Green, which is like Regency's London. Like, yeah. She can't do that because in this story they don't know that Regency London exists.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what the solution is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand why she did what she did, but, like, as a reader, I was, like, so more than ready to, like, okay, let's move on now.
Yeah.
So, you know, and, like, again, same thing. We definitely needed to have that list of rules.
Yeah.
Could that have maybe been, like, a scroll in the prologue instead of its own separate thing? Maybe.
Yeah, or even, like, when the games are first starting, kind of, like, have a scroll there. Yeah. To remind players. Because also, this week, we kind of got that some years rules can be a bit different. So, yeah. Yeah.
But, like, and I will say that I am genuinely pretty impatient in the best of times. So, you know, I did, in general for prologues, I sort of, like, if there's some things you need to tell me, fine, but make it quick and make it fast, because I want to get into the story.
Yeah. Yeah, I think of, When the Moon Hatched, because that prologue was just, like, about the gods. Mm-hmm. But it was, like, first read through, it was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, it's like that was maybe an information overload.
Yeah. Yeah, I find, like, I don't dislike prologues. I understand sometimes they're necessary for things that aren't part of the story that you need to get across. Yeah. But a lot of times I just read it, I don't understand what they're saying, and then I just move past it, and I'm like, well, I don't feel like I had got any reading comprehension out of that thing. So it's like, I don't know if I'm, like, retaining anything from it.
Yeah, and that is sort of the problem when you have, like, complicated world building that you need to do, and you're trying to do a prologue that sets up this world building, or even that establishes the world building, like, and explains it later. Like, it is sort of like, I'm sorry, what? Like, you don't really get it. Yeah. I did really, really enjoy Phantasma's prologue, though, because it was literally just, and like, full disclosure, both of us were like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
But then as soon as you get to that part, you're like, oh my God, it's this! And I really found that satisfying.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to listen back and actually, like, did I find it satisfying when we were talking about it? But in hindsight, I found it satisfying.
No, I think you did. I vaguely remember. But yeah, I like that a bit.
I know. I think I'm more into that than you were.
Yeah. It just reminds me of, like, Supernatural. Like, there's one episode where Sam's getting chased by a tiny dog, and then it's like, how did we get here?
Yes.
It's like so many hours later. And, like, it's just a different way of storytelling. Like, I don't dislike it. I guess in this one, it was kind of like, you didn't realize that it was the future. And that was kind of the thing that was exciting about it.
Yeah.
But, again, I just feel like I kind of was like, don't know what's happening, don't know what this is. Which is how I feel at the beginning of a lot of books, obviously, because they have to start somewhere. But I feel like I just didn't even retain enough to be like, oh, this was a fun Easter egg. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's so hard to get all the information you need to get into books. Like, I'm just impressed that authors do it at all.
Yeah, and, like, explaining your world in a coherent way, I feel like is so difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine trying to explain in detail everything that's in your head.
Yeah, but also, like, if you had to explain this world to somebody, I can't. Yeah.
It's like Bridgerton, but with demons.
Yeah. So.
But that only works if you've watched and or read Bridgerton.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, fun times. So, you know, they're necessary. I definitely read them.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that's a thing that people skip.
I can't imagine you picking up a book and seeing that there's a prologue and being like, well, no thank you. Like, it's part of the book. How could you not read it?
Yeah. I know when we were, like, Fourth Wing and stuff, the epigraph things at the top, that I didn't know that that's what they were called until Jeff looked it up because he hates them so much. And he also reads, like, other books that a lot of them have epigraphs at the top. Like, he just started Mistborn. And he hates them so much. And he just, like, I don't think he read them in Fourth Wing. And I'm like, what are you talking about? They, like, give you a hint as to what's happening.
Context, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but prologues are different.
Yeah. But for the most part, they're fine. I really do want them to be, like, short and sweet.
Yeah. Especially if, like, you know a bit about the book and you're excited to get into the characters.
Yeah. I want to be like, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Anyway. So I guess that's it on prologue, so we'll just get into this week. Just a heads up, this is not a spoiler-free zone. And things could get saucy.
Yeah, so it's our second week with Throne of the Fallen by Kerri Maniscalco. We're doing chapters 18 to 36. So last week, we met our main characters. Camilla is a painter. And she, like, owns a shop, which isn't normal for a woman of her station. And we met Envy, who is pretending to be a human in this world named Sinton, and needs a painting from Camilla. And she said no twice. And he can only ask her 3 times before he's out of the game. And the game is just like a Fae Kings game that we don't actually know a whole lot about yet, really.
No.
We just know that there's clues, and the winner wins something that matters a lot to them. Mm-hmm. And we don't know who the other players are, but we do get some information this week. And we ended off with Camilla showing up at Envy's ball, and she just danced with Sinton, and now she's talking to Lust, and Envy is jealous about that. So this week we start in Camilla's point of view, and Lust is telling her that she could dance with his brother again if she wants to, but like she knows that that's against like the proper
Isn't stuff. It technically 2 dances?
I think so, but did they just do 2 dances at the one time? Like, I was like,
no, they were all zoned out. They didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah, but I was wondering if this was Lust trying to use his power on her. If he was like, if that was the point of this thing.
Yeah.
Because she's just like, no, it's not right. And then, of course, he tells her to call him Sin, even though other Sinton said that that's what people call him. And he says it's since he sees himself as the premier prince of sin. And she's like, oh, interesting. Because she knows about the princes of hell. She's been told about them her whole life. So she asks him how many brothers he has, and he says he has 7, and they're known as princes of sin. And
straight up just telling her who they are.
Yeah. And she even thinks of the 7 circles. And then, but then she's like, some myths say that there are 8 brothers, though. I'm like, there was something about that in the last trilogy, wasn't there? I don't really remember. Wasn't there like an extra book?
No, I think they said there were 8. There used to be 8 circles, not 8 brothers. Because Death and Vengeance had.
Yes.
Right? The twins had their circle.
Yes.
So I think it was 8 circles.
Interesting. So, yeah. Anyway, so basically, she's being told right now exactly who these guys are. And she's just like, haha, they're just so silly. They think that they're princes of sin. And it's like, oh, you're smarter than this. But she asks,
we hope.
Well, yeah. They're trying to tell us she is, but then this happens. But she asks him what he rules over, and he says if she hasn't guessed, he isn't a good prince. And she just kind of like scoffs at the idea of it all. And then he mentions the dance floor, and she looks over, and like people are going at it. Like people are kissing, but like there's a couple actually actively having sex in a corner. And I'm like, this is not normal.
No, but I think she says that, like...
Definitely, but other people aren't, like, outraged and shocked.
No, because they're all under Lust's spell, I feel like. I feel like his presence is sort of making, like, everybody lose their inhibitions a bit.
100%.
Except for her.
100%. But I just don't understand why she's not realizing that something else is... And she kind of does, because she says then that, like, they're acting like they're compelled, and then she sees someone bringing around drinks and wonders if they're being drugged. But it's just the fact that, like, she doesn't think of this again. Like, so much stuff happens that she just doesn't think of again and doesn't ponder again. Like, jumping out the window last week. She didn't think another thought about it. Like...
No.
And I just don't understand, like, you'd think about that again. When you're trying to fall asleep, you'd be like, hey, remember, they were fucking in the corner at that dance. Like, it's just odd. And then Les tries to get her to leave, and she's like, why? And then she looks over, and she sees Envy/Sinton, the person he's dancing with, kisses him. And she just feels super jealous and just runs out. And she thinks, like, she thought the dance and the dress and the paintbrush meant something, but it just meant he wanted something from her. And I'm like, that is true. But also, she's kissing him. Like, he didn't kiss her. And she's like, I think even in her head, she's like, she ran away before their lips even touched because she knew it was what was happening. Like, and all this compelling shit going on. Anyway. But she had to feel jealousy, I guess.
Yes, because that's Envy's, that's his feeling.
Yeah. And I do think, like, she thinks in this moment that he just wanted something from her. And I'm like, I think that is important for her to try to keep in mind because it's true.
Yeah. And that doesn't stop.
Yeah. So she runs through a hedge maze until, like, she stops feeling jealous and she starts to feel annoyed at him. And he just appears in front of her, which is also an impossible thing that she should probably think about later, but doesn't. And he says, never show me your envy again. It won't end well.
I don't like this, and I don't really understand why he does this.
I agree. Because isn't that the point? Doesn't he want people to be feeling envy?
You would think.
I'm just confused about why. Like, does he want her? Like
I wonder.
It seems like a turnoff to him.
Yeah,
based on how he acts.
My thing is that is this him? Like, is he actually turned on, but he's pissed off that he's turned on, so he's getting angry at her? Or is he genuinely angry? Like, he genuinely doesn't want her to do that.
I don't know. I don't feel like we've been in his point of view when she's felt jealous. Other than, like, maybe later this week. But he liked it then, to my recollection. I don't know. I will say it did just confuse me. She tells him not to threaten her, and he says it's a warning, and he, like, pushes her against a hedge, and he kisses her. So maybe it makes him feel out of control and want her, and that's what he doesn't like, the feeling of being out of control. I don't know. And he tells her some games shouldn't be played unless you can win, and if she stokes his sin again, he will show her what it means to lose. So, yikes. Yeah. And then he leaves. And she kind of realizes that she's further than she thought in this maze, like further from the house. And then Lord Gary shows up and offers to escort her back. And she's just like, you can't escort me back because that'll ruin my reputation. Like, people will think we were out here together. Which is just a wild thing. And he says her reputation is obviously worth something to her. And then he grabs her and covers her mouth with a cloth. And I was like, is he chloroforming her?
Yeah, that's what I thought too. My God, he's drugging her.
And then I was like, oh, wait, so why is he doing it? But I guess it's so she can't scream.
But I mean, he could just do that with his hand. What does he need to...
I know, it's weird. And then he grabs at her necklace, but he doesn't pull it off. And he tells her to give him the locket, and she's kind of confused by that, 'cause she's like, why wouldn't he just pull it off of her neck? Like, he's like attacking her, but he isn't taking what he wants. So then he pins her to the ground, and he puts a dagger to her heart and, like, threatens her for the locket. And she just says to him that it isn't worth much money, and he says it's worth more to him than that. And she's just finding it really weird that he keeps asking for it. And we obviously know what's going on. Like, with Sinton, he needs to get a painting from her, Envy. He needs to get a painting for her. He has to ask for it, and she could say no 3 times. But she needs to do it willingly without him using magic. So, obviously, Lord Gary is part of this game, and he needs her locket. And she thinks, like, this isn't just a locket, and Lord Gary must know that somehow. But we don't know what it is, which is kind of, I want to know what the locket does.
Yeah, it definitely does something, or, like, I feel like it's a ward of some sort. Like, it's definitely, like, has some sort of thing that, like, either keeps her power, like, hidden, or, like, keeps her, like, or is, like, a glamour, keeping, like, what she really looks like hidden, maybe. Like, maybe it's hiding all those pointy ears that I feel like she definitely has.
All of them.
Ugh.
Yeah, I feel like later this week, like, two of the brothers kind of talk about, like, she could have something. And I'm like, yeah, it's her locket, guys. Don't be stupid. It's obviously the locket.
Yeah. But I don't think they know about the locket. Like, I don't think they know anything about it.
No, I don't. They'd have to notice she's wearing it, or at least Envy should notice she's wearing it, I assume. But I don't know. Maybe it's glamored so you can't, like, he never mentions it, I don't think. Oh, other than this, yeah. He mentions it in a bit. When he sees that, he should realize something. Anyway, we'll get there when we get there. So she tells Lord Gary that she needs to stand up to take it off. And he helps her up because he's still a gentleman and he's been trained that way. And then she wobbles and he grabs her to steady her and drops his dagger. And she just, like, knees him in the junk and starts attacking him. But then she trips over her dress and he has her pinned again. And he has his hand on her throat and she's seeing black. Like, he's actually trying to kill her. And she finds the blade in the ground, and he says, no one said she had to be breathing. She'll give the locket willingly when she's dead. And I'm like, I don't think that's gonna work for the game. Like, I don't think that's the logic you hope it is.
I mean, God only knows.
And then she stabs him in the neck and twists, and he just topples over. And he's just twitching, and she's covered in blood, and she, like, goes over to check, but Envy pulls her back and says that he'll take care of this. And he asks for the details and says they'll get her cleaned up. And then he sees her neck and is just, like, murderous at Lord Gary because presumably he left marks on her. And he tells Alexei to take care of it. And Alexei, like, takes Lord Gary away and cleans up the place. And she's like, maybe, or maybe she's just dazed. And then she's like, maybe it's magic. And I'm like, this is another moment where she's traumatized and we just kind of, like, brush over the magic that's happening. So she's shaking and Envy holds her and tells her to breathe and rubs his hands over her injuries. And her skin starts to warm and she stops hurting. But she keeps hugging into him. And, like, we kind of realize that he's healing her injuries. But, again, she never thinks of this again.
Well, I guess she's in shock?
Yeah. You'd still think of it, though. You'd be like, where did the blood on my dress go? Like,
yeah. I don't know. I got nothing for you.
Yeah. So, we go to Envy's point of view. And he's still hugging her and holding her. And Lord Harrington yells out to them and just makes a scene about it. And then Envy goes still and he thinks of Gary and he asks, he thinks he, like, we saw last week that he asked Alexei to follow Lord Gary because he thought he could be a player. But then later on in the night, Lord Gary was on the dance floor with Widow Janelle, so he got Alexei to follow a different lord who was suspicious, and he kind of, like, feels shitty because if Alexei had been following Lord Gary, none of this would have happened. But I'm also like, he was so close. Like, he must have, like, done his disappearing thing, whatever they call that, when he left her. Because, like, it was only a minute later that Lord Gary showed up. I just feel like, I just thought he was more powerful. And maybe this is the point. Maybe it's because his court is crumbling. He isn't as powerful as he was. But I just thought that he would be more observant of anything that was happening on his grounds.
Well, yeah, because presumably if he walked away from her, he would also probably see Lord Gary, like, walking out.
Yeah.
But.
And he might have heard them. So, I wonder if it's just to show that, like, his power is not what it ought to be. Lord Walter shows up with Lord Harrington then and asks if Sinton is fucking this person, and then they recognize that it's her. And they say that Vexley will have his balls. And I'm like, Vexley can go fuck himself. Like,
but also, like, I find it weird that everything... So... I just find it weird. Like, are they literally just standing on the side staring at them?
Yeah.
Like, because, like, they show up at different points.
Yeah.
Like, slightly one after the other. Envy is thinking all of this while still hugging into her. Then he's about to talk to her a little bit here.
Yeah. And they're, like, are they just not getting any closer?
Yeah, like, are the guys just, like, standing a couple of feet away and, like, just, like, paused mid, like, ridicule?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what they're doing. Like, what are they doing?
I don't know. They do say that, like, they came out here to play hide and seek. Which is
stupid.
Wild.
How old are you?
Yeah. So, yeah. Envy feels jealous when they say that Vexley will have his balls. But then he thinks Camilla has been through enough. And he thinks, luckily he cleaned up her gown and her injuries. Because it'd be a whole different scene if they saw that. And then he asks her if she agrees to the bargain. And she's just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah. She's like, I'm ruined. Like, none of that matters right now. Like, what are you doing? And he thinks that he can't let her be ruined because he won't get his painting. And he's very, like, I think we talked about it a bit last week too, but, like, he's obviously catching feelings for her, but he's very in his thoughts and his, like, his practicality. He's like, no. He's like, I'm just using her. This is it. Which kind of makes me sad. And I know it's only going to get worse before it gets better, but he thinks, like, this is his third shot at asking her, because you're only allowed to ask you're only allowed to be denied, I guess, 3 times. So he offers to pretend to be her betrothed. And we talked about this last week, and I was just like, how do you end a betrothal? But he does explain it a little later.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that makes sense. I was like, that's an actual thing he could do. So, because originally I was like, and then what? Like,
her reputation will be ruined because he left her. Like,
yeah. But I understand now. I just thought it was really funny that I did not think of that at all. So Camilla's point of view now. She thinks really this is the best option for them to pretend to be betrothed because, like, they're in each other's arms. People are asking if they're fucking. But she does think, like, she just murdered a man in front of him. Like, shouldn't that mean something? How does he even want to do this? And you're just like, because he wants something from you, obviously. But she thinks that he protected her, and she looks at her dress, and she doesn't have any bruises. And she wonders if he used magic. So, like, she does realize a bit. But I just think, like, she's an intelligent character.
Supposedly.
Yeah. Like, that's what we're putting her across as. So, like, I just feel like she's ignoring a whole bunch of things so that later this week she can feel shocked. When I don't think she has the right to feel shocked.
No, there's been too many signs.
Yeah. Someone straight out told her. So she then thinks, like, Vexley can't get her if she's betrothed too. So she's just like, yeah, sure. So she nods, and he puts a ring on her finger. And she's just like, where did he get this ring? But it's, like, huge and emerald and gaudy. But now that she said yes, Envy just, like, starts beating the shit out of Harrington. And he breaks a tooth, and then he breaks a rib, and then Lady Catherine shows up, and she tells Harrington off, and it's amazing. She tells him he's not nearly charming nor handsome enough to be acting like this, and I'm like, God, girl, I love you. But he just says that he caught this rake with her friend, and Sinton says that he interrupted his proposal and tried to spread rumors and insulted Miss Antonius, and he's lucky he didn't challenge him to a duel. Like, I'd be cool with a duel.
I would also be fun with the duel.
It'd be a fun.
It would.
Side. And then Harrington just says, like, he wasn't proposing, he nearly had her tits out. And I'm like, how do you know? You just showed up while they were hugging. Like, this is stupid. So Envy punches him again. And Camilla wants to join in. And Envy must feel that because he looks at her and, like, almost smiles. And then Envy just threatens everybody that, like, he'll find them if they say anything about them. We jump over to Envy's point of view, and they're on they're in a carriage with Lady Catherine. And she is super suspicious. So they kind of have to tell her that he sent for a commission before he came here. And Sinton and Camilla exchanged letters. And he asked Camilla to keep it private. And the ball was actually his celebration to ask her for her hand. But he wanted to do it in private to make sure that, like, she didn't say no in his face in front of everyone.
I do find it weird that he's leaving his own house to go somewhere else. Why? Why are you doing that? Why would you ever leave the comfort of your home to go to someone else's home?
I guess the point is, like, they would drop her off first, and then they'd go drop off Lady Catherine and her husband, and then he'd be dropped off home. But just so that he knows that she gets home safe. But I'm like, she's with Lady Catherine and another man, so, like, I don't understand it either.
Oh, good. Okay. I'm glad that neither of us understand.
Well, especially since there's, like, a driver and another chaperone. It
seems
like
pointless.
if she was going in a carriage by herself.
Yes, 100%. And if it was his carriage.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it's Catherine's carriage.
It is, yeah.
So, like, how is he getting home?
I don't know.
Now, I know the presumption shortly is that he's not going home. Yeah. But, like, again, dude, stay at home. Be a homebody like me.
Right? Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, so then he apologizes for the violence of beating the shit out of Lord Harrington. But Lord Edward says that Kitty used to be an underground boxer, which is interesting.
Wild.
I was like, this is completely out of left field for me. And then he looks at Camilla, but she says that she didn't fight, but she would illustrate the fights, so she would go there. And then they just end up at the Edwards' home without even, like,
talking about it.
Yeah. And Kitty's just like, we didn't have a chance to toast you guys, so we're gonna do that. And she insists they stay the night. And I'm just like, this is so rude. And I get it, because she's like, she doesn't want to leave them alone because she doesn't really trust him. Which is interesting, because, like, this week they just fucking disappear. What does she think?
We don't know, which is wild.
I wonder if she'll come back.
I wonder if she'll knock him the fuck out.
I hope so. So then we go to Camilla's point of view, and I'm assuming they've already done the toast. But she's in her room, and Envy's there, and he asks about her cat. And this is where we get that, like, the cat comes over on a silk pillow in the carriage with cream. And she tells him the cat's name is Bunny, and he asks if she knows that it's a cat.
Yeah, because she named it Bunny. That's weird.
It's cute. I like the moment. And then Envy says if she's all right, asks if she's all right, and says that Alexei got the story from Lord Gary, and he assumes she won't tell him about the locket. And this is where I was like...
Oh, so he does know about the locket.
So he should be smart enough.
Right. He should.
Yeah.
Maybe he's all, like, confused, though, and, like, just paralyzed by lust.
He does seem to be.
He can't think straight.
Yeah. But, like, so in this moment, he obviously knows there's something with the locket. You think it would be the immediate thought later on. But anyway. He's like, okay, I'll leave. And she says, wait. And she thinks that she wants him to hold her again. And, of course, she's in, like, a scandalous nightgown and a robe because she leaves stuff here. And he looks at her and asks if she needs something. And then she thinks of submitting to him and of his experiences with other people, and that makes her feel jealous. And this is kind of where this is why it kind of, like, because he was looking at her with lust, and then he feels that she feels jealous, and then he, like, turns off and is, like, just not lustful anymore from her point of view. Because he's just like, come up with a list of everything you need and we'll start painting tomorrow. Or she'll start painting tomorrow. And he says that she'll be moved to his home and she'll have her own bridal wing and they'll just say it's because he's protective of her. And that's kind of why I find it confusing that, like, does her feeling jealousy either super turn him on so much that he's like, no, I gotta get out of here? Or does it turn him off? I don't get it. And then they kind of get into, like, a pissing contest over who wants who more. Like, they're each telling the other person that they want the other person more. It's just kind of like, she's like, oh, the way you look at me. And he's like, well, I could see the way you look at me. And then she kind of thinks that she is lonely and she wants to give in. And he offers that they be deviants just for tonight. And then he tells her to take off her robe and give him the sash. And she thinks that she shouldn't. And he asks when she was last wicked and says, it's only a kiss. And I'm like, this is a bit intense if he thinks she's a virgin. But he blindfolds her with her sash. And she tilts her head up to, like, kiss him. And he kisses her neck. And then he moves down instead of up, which confuses her because he said only a kiss. And he, like, starts sucking on her nipples through her sleepwear.
Her lingerie that she wears to bed, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. And then he gets her to, like, he, like, pushes her back onto the bed and lies her down and starts kissing her leg. And he pushes her thighs apart, and of course she isn't wearing underwear, which is just like, sure. Yeah. Sure. And then he kind of pauses, so she widens her legs for him to keep going. And then, of course, he eats her out, because that's the kiss he meant. And I'm like, this is intense in your friend's home, but okay. And he teases her until she pleads, and she tries to keep quiet, but, like, he's grunting, and I'm like, did he put up a sound shield or something? Like,
I would hope so.
Yeah. And she thinks that she wants more. She wants him inside of her, and she says, oh my God, and he says he has nothing to do with this, because, of course, that's, like, the classic.
Yeah. I'm a demon, prince of hell.
And she thinks that this man could drag her down to hell and she'd gladly burn for eternity. Which I just love that she thinks that because, like, spoiler alert, later this week,
he's gonna do
they
that.
go.
Yeah.
So I do love that. And then he starts using his fingers too, and he commands her to come, and she just does. And the orgasm, of course, is unlike any other that she's ever had, and he keeps going till she comes again. And she's, like, out of her body and boneless and spent, and she thinks, like, this was a religious experience. And then he kisses her inner thigh and leaves. And she's just like, what the fuck? Like, after that? So she's furious that he just left. She thinks he's playing a game. So she decides that she's going to be indifferent too.
Can I just say, though, if somebody had just given me 2 orgasms and then left, I'd be like, thank you, goodbye.
Right? I'd be like, and now, to sleep.
Yeah, like, come on, girl, you're living the dream.
Especially after, like, that traumatizing and hard night.
Yeah.
Like, this is exactly what you need to get to sleep. You're fine.
Yeah.
But she kind of, I'm going to say realizes, but I don't even know if that's the right word. She realizes there's something he didn't want her to see. Like, he blindfolded her. He said it was just tonight, and he had, like, a hasty exit. And he's like, there's something. And I'm like, I guess he has feelings for her. But also...
Well, but the fact that he was like, it's just for tonight. Like, is that his one-night rule?
Well, obviously it's not.
No.
Like, it's only one night when it's sex. And I'm like, this is how you're fucking yourself over. If you just had sex and were actually stuck to the one night, you probably wouldn't even fall for her like you're going to. So we go to Envy's point of view now, and he's just showing Camilla to a studio, and he's surprised that, like, she isn't furious he left last night, and, like, she isn't madly in love with him. And I'm like, oof. Fine. And then he tells her Alexei will be around if she needs anything, and she asks for a cup of tea, and he's just like, I can't believe she's ordering me around in my own house. And I'm like, this actually seems like a reasonable request for you to, like, ask somebody to get her tea. Like, I didn't think this was so out there. But he comes back sarcastically and asks if she needs scones and clotted cream.
Yes,
but she says that's unnecessary.
Delicious.
I know, that's exactly what I want. And then her ordering him around kind of turns him on, but he just, like, stands there and thinks.
But there's a lot of that in this book.
There is.
Like, it's a lot more than, and, like, are we just being too critical? Like, do all books do this? And we're just, like, focusing on it for some reason with this book? Or, like, is there just a lot of standing around and thinking?
I think, like, this moment, she notices he's standing around and thinking. So, like, obviously this one is longer than most. So it's, yeah. But he thinks of pulling her gown off, and, like, he wants her, and she dismisses him, and that shocks him. And he thinks back to last night, and he thinks he wanted to fuck her, but he only does once, and he couldn't do it in Lady Catherine's house. And he thinks he got himself off last night, but it wasn't near enough, and now she has the upper hand. And usually his lovers are...
Can I just say that, like, the one thing that's bothering me about their relationship so far, and, like, it's more so in my section, it's sort of starting here, like, we can see a little bit forming, but it does come up more in my section, is the games the two of them are playing with each other. I really don't like it.
Same.
It's not my cup of tea at all.
I completely agree. Like, stop.
Yeah, like, they're being so conniving and, like, calculating with each other. I mean, like, well, I don't want them to see this, so I'm going to act this way. And, oh, they want me to be, like, to do this, so I'm distinctly going to not do it that way. Like, it's just very, like, just be kind with each other.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm just like, why is there an upper hand to be had? Like, it's not a power struggle. But he thinks usually his lovers are jealous and want more, and she's not acting like they normally act. She's not like other girls. And then she just asks if there's anything else, and he realizes, like, he was lost in thought just looking at her. And he thinks he'll be even more indifferent than her now. And I'm like, sure. And then he tells her not to dismiss him in his own home, and if it happens again, he'll be forced to remind her who serves who.
Yikes.
And they both think back to him serving her last night. And she said, because, like, yeah, dude, you don't.
It's not
you. You don't have the upper hand.
Who serves who? Not you.
Yeah. And she says that'll be hard for him, and she looks down because he is hard, and says, like, he has his hands full right now, so to leave her alone. And I love it. And he then just thinks again at her, and is like, he wants to, like, take her in the paint and make a canvas with their bodies and like
Why
put it
is
on
that?
the wall.
I see that so much more than I would think to see. Like, that is referenced so many more times in pop culture, like, not just in books, but in, like, TV shows and movies. Like, I have heard it so many times of that being a thing. And I'm like, that just seems messy.
But it also, like, it's funny that he's not realizing, like, she's clearly different than other people if your one night that you're gonna have, one night in quotes, you want a memory of it.
Yeah.
Like, you're in deeper than you think. But so then he finally leaves.
But she's not like other girls.
It's so true. He finally leaves, and outside Lust is there, and Lust says that he's in trouble, and asks if he thinks that Camilla is a distraction, like if she was put in the game specifically as a distraction to Envy.
Lust?
Which is smart.
Who asked you?
Yeah. And that makes Envy think that, like, she deserves more than to be a pawn, but he thinks, like, he'll have the next clue soon, and she'll have a missing/dead fiance and all of his possessions, and he'll make sure that Vexley isn't a problem. And I was like, oh yeah, he could do that. That's so smart.
But, like, is he allowed to do that? Because, like, women aren't technically allowed to inherit shit.
Yeah.
And, like, she doesn't have his heir. She's not even, like, married to him yet. So, like, is he allowed to do that?
Well, I guess he doesn't have any other people. I guess he could leave it to someone, like, say it's left to Lust, and then Lust could just give it all to her.
That's true.
Because, like, who else would he be able to leave it to? But yeah, I was like, oh, that's a good idea. better than just disappearing.
Yeah, but would everybody think she killed him then?
Yeah, then they'd fear her and she'd be rich. I'd love it.
True story.
Yeah. He also thinks, like, Alexei is looking for other players, and he thinks he'll kill the whole realm before he lets anyone get her. Dude, you're so in love already.
Yeah.
Stop with the games.
You're gone.
Yeah. And then Lust says, bring her to House Lust first when you take her to the Seven Circles. And we kind of get a little sneak peek that House Wrath is just Wrath and Amelia just being kinky and playing with chains and knives and having sex on every room, everywhere. And it's just kind of fun. I like it.
I love it, yeah.
But Envy kind of, like, rises to the bait and says that Camilla will come to House Envy first, and Lust is like, gotcha, because he's saying that, like, she doesn't matter. It's like, clearly she does. And then Rust.
Oh, Rust. Good old Rust.
Yeah. Jesus. Lust says he knows something is wrong and that they all do. And Envy asks if he and Gluttony have a wager. And Lust is like, of course we do. But Lust then kind of changes the subject and says she doesn't succumb to his influence and asks if Envy's works. And Envy just says it's against the rules, so he hasn't checked yet. And Lust asks him to check after she paints the throne. And Lust says she's different than his last mortal. But Envy thinks the only happily ever after he's looking for is for his court. Which is kind of fun. I like that he cares about his court as much as he does.
But, like, I feel like that's going to be the key thing that keeps them apart.
100%.
Is him being like, I have to do it for my court.
Yeah. And then he'll realize he can have both.
No, do you know what's... Oh, hang on, no. I can't give away what my predictions are until after you do a part. So continue.
Okay. So Camilla's point of view now, she's prepping to paint, and she's kind of wondering how this will go, but she has no choice but to paint it because of their bargain. And then she hears a tap on the window, and she sees the same cloaked figure as the other day outside of her gallery. And she, like, is terrified. Obviously, she just got attacked by Lord Gary last night. Unsurprisingly terrified. And she starts yelling out to Sinton. And she yells at him to hurry. And then she sees the man's wolf-like yellow eye wink at her. And Sinton shows up and asks what's wrong. But the guy's gone. And she realizes who it was. So she just asks Sinton about the tea.
I'm like, girl, tell him there was a weirdo hanging outside.
But also, he never brings this up again or thinks about this again. Like, we never get his point of view of being like, well, that was fucking weird. She was terrified. And he doesn't press her on it. I was just like, she's like, he's suspicious. He leaves. He goes and gets the tea. But he's suspicious of what the fuck that just was. But
yeah.
Why?
To be fair, though, I also feel like they sort of have a lot of other stuff on the go after this point.
Yeah.
So, like, I sort of get him getting distracted and forgetting about this.
But, like, you'd think he'd press her more here and be like, what the fuck? You were just yelling bloody murder. What are you talking about the tea?
Yeah, that's true.
It's just odd. People are just, like, brushing past things. And I'm like, I would think about this for years later because of my anxious mind.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that's true.
So he leaves, I guess, and Camilla thinks that she doesn't want to think of why the hunter tracked her down, and her past is circling her. And I'm like, listen, obviously he's tracked you down because he's also a player in this game.
Oh, that's what you thought?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not what I thought, and I was sad now.
Sorry. I don't know if that's true, but...
Because, like, because didn't she say that, like, the last time, because, like, this is the guy that gave her orgasm. Mm-hmm. That she spent, like, a night with. I don't know if there was penetration or not, but, like, this is the guy.
Yeah.
And he said to her before he left that he'd be back for her.
Yeah.
So I thought this was him being back for her.
I just think the timing is too convenient for him not to be a part of this bullshit.
Yeah, fine. I'm just so, like, I'm so romantic.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
I just want it to all be romance. I want them to all fight for her.
Yeah. Yeah. This is interesting. So she takes her locket off here.
Oh. Okay.
To paint. So obviously it's not a physical, like, it's not changing anything physically about her, I don't think, because you'd think Sinton would notice that.
Correct. Yeah, okay.
But does it stop her talent from working?
Yeah, because last week, remember, you were like, I don't understand how she's just painting now, considering this week. And it's true. We were like, oh yeah, shit. How does she, like, paint normally? It seems like the locket is how she paints normally.
But if she just left the locket on and painted it without using her talent, she would still fulfill the bargain.
Oh, yeah! Why is she doing that?
I don't get it.
Oh, you're right. I love the way your mind works, because I didn't think of that at all.
I only just thought of it, that, like, reading it right now. But, so maybe the locket, maybe that isn't part of the locket? I don't know. We need to know more about this locket.
We need to know what the locket does.
We're just speculating here.
Yeah.
So she just closes her eyes and thinks of her father's stories about the throne. And she thinks, like, it burns on one side and it was created by the first witch, and she hexed several objects in hopes of destroying the demons. And it was supposed to entice the prince and then overtake him. So, interesting. Her talent wakes up and the throne tells her the colors she needs to use until, like, she can see it in her mind. And then she starts to paint it. And she knows the throne is sentient and has thoughts and emotions and likes playing games. And she becomes a vessel for it. So I do wonder if, like, taking the locket off like, if that protects her from magic.
Yeah.
In some way.
Yeah.
So, like, she has to take it off to be able to feel the throne. So she loses her sense of time, and she thinks that her father used to say that the talent was a gift from long ago Fae, and when she used her talent, she shifted into the time of Fairy, or the Shadow Realms. So that's super interesting, because, like, in a few minutes, she thinks an hour's passed, and it's been 2 days. So, like, if using the talent makes her shift into, like, Fae time, that would be cool. And she thinks her father would tell her to be careful meddling between realms, but that annoys her now. And I'm like, why? Because she's worked at it and understands her craft now. And she thinks her father understood it too before he crumbled. And I'm like, do we think her father had this talent too? Because if her father has this talent, and she got it from her father, all of our thoughts are that her mother is, like, last week
is the
we
one
were on the train of
her mother is
so
the
I'm
one
like,
she got. That's like the immortal or supernatural one.
Yeah. So I don't really, but it does kind of sound like her father had this talent. So she paints, and the throne is, like, taking all of her attention as she brings it to life, and then eventually, like, she's physically pulled away from it and thrown over her shoulder, and she feels disoriented, and Envy brings her out of the room and pushes her into a wall, and he asks what she's doing, and she's just like, what do you mean? She says she's painting. She's like, do you already forget the bargain? And she's like, did you forget about the bargain in the last hour? And he's just like, I'm gonna stay while you paint. He's like, you're not allowed to paint anymore without me there, basically. He's like, or I'll handcuff myself to you until the painting's done. Like, the painting takes, like, 2 more minutes to finish, it seems like.
Yeah,
Maybe
you're late coming in, dude.
Yeah. Then we jump over to Envy's point of view, and he thinks, like, last night he knocked on the door and didn't think much of no answer, but after tonight, a second evening, and Alexi said that she didn't leave the room to eat or drink, he had to come in and check on her. And he thinks she didn't lie when she said that she'd only been an hour, but it's actually been 2 days, so he's not going to leave her alone again. And then he tells her that she needs to stop and sleep, but she says that she doesn't stop until she's done. And he just thinks that he's not tired, so he agrees to go back in, and he'll watch her while she finishes up the painting. And she's further along than he expected, and the throne looks more like a blade than a throne, which is fair, he thinks, because it's a weapon. And, like, the shadows behind it seem to undulate, and, like, he can tell that there's, like, something going on. And then he senses a power in the room testing for constraints, and it's otherworldly. And he thinks Camilla doesn't notice it because she's still painting away. And he's impressed by her and wonders if she can create new realities, which is just an interesting aside. Like,
oh god.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck? So he calls out to her twice, and she finally looks back, and he thinks her eyes aren't wholly human, and he wonders if the throne possessed her. But I'm just like, is that just who she is? Because I'm assuming she's not human. And then he says her name with his power and tells her to come, and, like, puts, not persuasion, command in it. So she goes and gets behind him, and then all hell breaks loose. So we go to Camilla's point of view, and there's an inhuman screech, and she feels hollow, like the painting took something from her. And she reaches for Sinton, as an otherworldly, like, shadowy form with ember eyes appears. And Camilla thinks it's not the throne, but it's the hexed thing inside of the throne that they can see.
Yikes.
And it's like hatred and fury and all the bad things. And Camilla wonders if the witch put it in the throne to keep it away from the world. She's like, I don't think so. I think she's just trying to get rid of the demons. The princes.
Well, my thought is, like, if it came out, is it not in the throne anymore?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, is it now out? Like, did she paint it and now it's, like, free? It doesn't have to go in anymore, so is the throne no longer hexed?
And then, like, he stabs it. Does that do something? Like, is it dead now?
Yeah.
I don't know. So Camilla thinks that, like, her mother was less interested in other worlds, and I think that's because...
she's a fairy.
She's from them. But she did tell Pierre and Camilla not to open their talents to demons. And Camilla thinks she wouldn't have painted this if she had known, because obviously it's, like, demon-like. And she wonders if she can burn the painting before anything happens to them. But Envy just says stop and, like, holds her back and, like, basically also telling the creature to stop. And the creature laughs and says, "You dare to command me." And Envy says it has information for him. And it says, "So much power, so much sin." And it calls Envy Your Highness. And then it just goes into her head, and they kind of have, like, a side conversation that Envy doesn't hear. And it says that talent is a horrible thing to waste, and hers will be given back to her if she plays the game till the end. And I wondered if that wording meant that she doesn't have to win the game, she just has to play it till the end. Because everyone else has to win.
Right.
So I found that kind of interesting. And we get a bit later, like, she didn't sign anything. So she asks the creature what game. And it asks her if she thought that he wouldn't eventually force her hand. So, like, she has to know Lennox in some way, or know of him, or have, like, because there's, like, some familiarity here that we don't know anything about. And it calls her a pawn on his, and I'm assuming it's Lennox's, board. And basically, the creature stole her talent. That was the empty feeling that she had. An emerald crown appears on Envy's head, and the creature says that he's the Prince of Envy and hiding no more. And Envy goes towards the throne, and she can feel his power, and Envy asks for his clue. And then the creature says, "Hush, those goose lose no text."
What a clue.
What a clue. And then Envy says, "Send my regards to your king," and stabs the creature. And it disappears, and the painting turns to ash. And I'm like, did Lennox put all of this, like, has Lennox been speaking to the throne since? Or did he put all of this into place before the throne was hexed? Because, like, how did he get this clue into the throne?
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's interesting.
So now that we know that she has no power right now, and she has to play the game till the end. Remember, I was like, oh, I want to say something, and then I was like, no, I can't. So my, like, prediction is that he's going to have to decide between his court and, like, getting his, I'm assuming, getting his wings back. That's my assumption, in order to restore his court. Or choosing to have her power come back to her because she's, like, lost without it or some shit. And he's going to pick her, and then it's going to break a curse or something like that. That's my prediction.
Yeah, but he's not a woman, so he won't have to give up anything.
Valid point. But I don't think he will. I think he'll...
Yeah.
Either that, or she'll have to decide. Like, one of them, I think, is going to have to decide between restoring his court or getting her power back.
Yeah, she's going to have to give up her power to restore his court.
Oh my god, did we just call it?
Well, I fucking hope not. And, like, I hope not.
Because this is the thing. If that's going to be the running theme for these books, I don't know how I feel about it.
I very much do not like it. Yeah, I guess we'll see. But yeah, I think there's going to be something to that. But that's why I did wonder, because, like, it does say, or maybe he'll be about to give up his court for her, and she'll be like,
no,
you said I only had, no, she'll be like, you said I only had to play till the end. You didn't say anything about winning. Like one of those moments.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Wouldn't it be amazing if we called it? I feel like we need to write this down. We called
it. It's just funny because, like, it's being recorded.
We need proof.
It just reminds me of, I think it was Maisie Adams and, like, Taskmaster, and one of those, the one with the bullseye, she used ice, and she was like, do you want to, like, get a picture of that? They're gonna melt soon. And he's like, this whole thing is being filmed. This is being filmed for TV. And she's like, oh, right. Anyway. Yeah, then Envy stabs the creature with his house dagger. We know that it's his house dagger. And it disappears and the painting turns to ash. So I guess it's important that it disappears. Maybe it's not dead. But it does make me feel like it's unleashed now because the throne is turned to ash.
It's out of the throne, yeah.
Interesting. And she finally realizes that he's the Prince of Envy.
Took you long enough.
Yeah. And she thinks that that makes sense because he has an ancient loneliness in his eyes. And she thinks, like, who knows how old he actually is and how many people he's loved, if he's even capable of love. And then she's like, maybe he was just manipulating me. And I'm like, he is.
He is manipulating you. But also, I love that was her first thought.
Yeah, like, you're both so fucked.
Yeah.
And she thinks, like, she knows of the princes, and she should have known better. Mm-hmm. But she did know, like, she's always been told that demons couldn't lie. So that part, like, that confused her. Because he says he's sentient. He says he doesn't want the painting for anything else. Like, he's lied a few times. Which we commented on last week that it was fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then she tells him that he claimed to be nothing like Vexley, but he's a liar and a miserable demon. And he's just demoned.
I love this for you. Well, for both of us, really.
Love it. He says he's not so miserable in her bed.
Of course he goes there.
Of course. And that she felt the sins, that he's a prince of it, and he can tell that she's turned on now.
Okay.
Like, of course he can. Of course he can. Great.
But he's not the prince of lust, so how can he tell?
Because he can tell what she's feeling. He can probably smell it.
Oh. But she thinks... I hate it.
Me too. She thinks it'll be a cold day in hell, which is hilarious because hell is cold.
Yeah.
Before he's in her bed again. I'm like, well, it is cold in hell, so what is this?
So that's accurate.
This is a funny thing.
Yeah.
And then she asks who the other brother was that she met, and she can tell that he's jealous by that question. But he tells her that it's lust, and she's like, oh yeah, that makes sense with all the debauchery at the ball. And then she asks about Alexei, and he's just like, no, he's just my second, and he's a vampire. And also, maybe don't threaten to bite him, because he's a vampire, and if he bit you, he basically tells her, like, she'd come as she died, and she'd beg for more. And she knows he's trying to shock her, but, like, based on what she knows about vampires, she believes that that's probably true.
I mean...
I'm like, I want a vampire story now.
What a good way to go.
Is one of the princes gonna fall in love with a vampire? Because, like, I need that.
Yeah, I think we all need that in our lives.
Yeah. So then she says that their bargain is complete, so she won't be seeing Alexei again anyway. And she goes to leave, but then she remembers the game and her talent disappearing, and she tries to use her talent, but she can't because it's gone.
What do you mean? How does she use... Oh, right. She's just trying to picture paintings in her head.
Yeah, I guess. I also was, like, wondering how she used it. But she thinks, like, she's heard of the games, and this was the only way to guarantee she would play is by taking her talent. So, like, she knows that Lennox is, like, a step ahead of her.
She knows so much more than, like, she's not shocked about anything. She's like, oh, yeah, I know about the princes. Oh, yeah, I know about the game. Oh, yeah, I know about... Like, she knows everything. How does she know everything?
I don't know.
Who the fuck is she?
Weird. I know. I need to know more. But she thinks, like, she needs Envy or another player to play with because she needs to play the game. And she thinks of Lord Gary, and she's like, oh, he must have been a player. And she decides not to tell Envy that she's gonna be playing now, because she's like, he'll just kill me. Yeah. And I'm like, you're the one that killed Lord Gary, though. Like, that doesn't... He covered it up.
Yeah, he was helping you.
And he basically just tells her that the clue was an anagram, and it was House Sloth next, she goes to. And I'm like, damn, he's fast at these. Like, I'd have to write it down and, like, move shit around. So now she's part of the game, and he says, like, he's spent many years waiting to win. And he tells her that he lied about his name and his title, but he'll use any means necessary to win, and he will use any means necessary to protect his investments. So she'll be fine. Like, he'll protect her. And she's like, so I'm just an investment. And that reminds me of something. Oh, Six of Crows, Anish. And she says maybe she wants him on his knees apologizing. And he says he's been on his knees for her, and he will again if she asks, but he won't apologize. And I'm like, do it.
Okay.
Ask for it.
Okay. Let's go.
And she can choose to come now or not, but she will be going to House Sloth with him. And I'm like, oh, shit.
So,
like, that's...
So this is the other thing. That means the first house she goes to when she goes to the Seven Circles is not House Envy.
I know, and I kind of love it. Sorry. And she just feels like super turned on because he keeps talking about going down on her. But then she asks for time, and they negotiate it. And he's like, I'll give you 2 hours to prepare, and they'll leave at midnight. And if she runs, he'll chase her. And she thinks, like, he's so driven and focused, and it's just so hot and thrilling. And I'm like, my God, you guys just need to
get a room.
So then we go to Envy's point of view, and he wonders what Camilla could be. And he thinks, like, she doesn't seem to be human, and he wonders if she's a shapeshifter or fae or a half vampire. And he sends his spies to try to find her mother. And I'm like, that's smart.
It is very smart.
And Alexei meets him, and Envy asks, how bad is it? And Alexei says he should see himself. And Envy just asks again how bad it is. And Alexei says 2/3. So he thinks, like, 2/3 of his court is lost to the fog. And he thinks he's fucked if anyone finds out, like, how easy it would be to overthrow him in his house.
But, like, I'm sorry. I don't think any of his brothers would do that.
I don't
They're
either.
all, like, assholes on the surface, but they're all little squishy cinnamon rolls inside.
They so are. I think Victoria, Vengeance, would be the one to actually, like... Yep. Like, I think she would do it. Just for fun. I don't even think she'd want it.
She wouldn't even keep it. She'd just do it because she couldn't be like, ha-ha! Now take it back and fix it.
Yeah. I think, like, she's the only one that would actually do it. But the rest of them, I'm like... I think they'd help him.
Yes,
because they need it's all about balance. You need a balance of these of these sins. So yeah, but of course that's not where we are. So Envy goes down to his cellar and tells Alexei to watch Camilla and not to let her leave. And then he takes a secret portal that just brings him directly to his private suite in House of Envy. And we kind of get, and we probably got this in the trilogy, that his house is full of a bunch of different kinds of art. And the only reason I included it is because he says now or thinks now that like there's a lot of fae and unseelie art here, and I wonder if there's going to be like some kind of clue in that.
Maybe.
But he also has like wings with like different colors of art too, and like just has like a wing of green art, and I'm kind of interested in that and want to see it.
Can we just quickly? I'm forgetting who the seventh brother is. So like, there's Wrath, Envy. Oh, Greed. Is Greed one?
Yeah. Greed and the
Greed was
reporter,
right?
Are getting
gluttony
together in a book, I assume.
Sloth, pride, and lust. Okay, Greed is who I was forgetting.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think we have a book about that one yet.
Probably not, but they're definitely like that's the one that's peppered in the most.
Because I told you I bought the next book of this, Throne of Secrets. Mm-hmm. And it is Gluttony.
Yes.
It's Gluttony story. We don't really know much about Gluttony yet.
I feel like we don't. I was just thinking that. I'm sure he'll come up in the end of this book.
Yeah, and then...
Just to bridge.
Which is sort of what I'm not confused about, but like and again, we're only halfway through this book, so maybe Gluttony will make like sort of a bigger appearance in a little bit. But then the third book is about Sloth. But, like, they're talking about how we're going to go to House Sloth now. And, like, Sloth does play a little bit of a, like, not a major role. But, like, he's here for a little while. So, like, I'm surprised that they went to Gluttony first instead of doing, like, Sloth, who we already know.
Is it Gluttony or Greed with the reporter?
Maybe it's... Oh, that's a good question. I don't know.
Because... Now I'm second.
That maybe it's Gluttony in the reporter?
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know. I know at the end of your... Okay, wait. It is Gluttony in the reporter, sorry.
Oh, okay, so that's the story
so
we're
that makes
next.
Sense. Yeah, so that makes sense, because that's the one that's been teased since... It'd be weird if we didn't have that one. I guess we don't know a lot about Greed.
Yeah. Apart from it was Greed's, like, Greed was in the trilogy a decent amount, because it was his gambling houses that were... Yeah, we just haven't seen him in this book, I guess, yet. But yes, it makes sense that Gluttony is the next book. I was actually surprised that this book wasn't about the... But I guess to get the story going. So yeah, he's... Envy's walking around his house, and it's really quiet, and there's no one around, and he's thinking, like, this is bad. And then he hears someone wailing, and he follows it to Lord and Lady Cassius's room, and he thinks, like, she's part of his council, and they are the ones that found a spell so he could lie. So he's actually used a spell to be able to lie, this is the first time we've gotten that confirmation. And she believed that he could fix this and didn't blame him. And he kind of like pleads before he goes into the room. And he thinks like they have triplets who are less than 6 months old. And he goes into the room and it's completely destroyed. And Lady Cassius asks who he is. And he says that he's Envy, but she doesn't recognize him. Then she asks, who is he, and points at a covered body on the ground. And Envy checks, and it is Lord Cassius, who is his friend, and he's been dead for a while. And Envy knows that when, not if, he wins, Piper, who is Lady Cassius, will never be the same, and she'll never forgive herself for killing her husband. And he wonders, like... He needs to get, I guess, Lord Cassius out of here, his body out of here, and he's kind of trying to figure out how to do it when she starts, like, asking, who are they? And she says they kept screaming and crying, and who sent them to kill her? And he doesn't want to look, but he thinks it's his duty, and he will own this sin. And if he had never given the chalice to her, then this might not have happened. And I do wonder, because we don't really know what the chalice is or what it did, or... Yeah, like I wonder if it was like some sort of cursed
thing. Because, like, obviously something's happening. And I'm sure we'll get more of that later. But he thinks he'll make this right no matter the cost. Or his circle will be no more. And then he looks in the corner of the room and sees them. And, like, I do appreciate that we don't get all the details of this. Yeah.
Yeah, this was hard.
Yeah, very hard. And there's bile in his throat. And then she just says, I did it. And he sees that there's some clarity in her eyes. And he knows that it'll pass, so he needs to get her out of here. But before he can do anything, she stabs herself in the chest and dies. So Lord and Lady Cassius and their 3 children are all dead. So he has to, like, push back his panic, and he wraps his heart in ice, and, like, it goes out to coat the room. And then he collects his friends, and he thinks he was too late, so he'll take his bodies to where the rest are. So, like, everyone in his court is going mad and killing each other and themselves. And
I think it adds a layer of, like, urgency and sort of desperation to it, because, like, if there was just this fog and, like, people didn't know who they were and they were just like, what? And just being, like, stupid and clueless, I think it would be a lot easier to just be like, yeah, okay, well, like, when he gets to it, he gets to it. But knowing that the madness eventually causes, like, paranoia and then, like, murder, and you don't even know what you're doing, I think that adds sort of a sense of, like, no, he needs to solve this now because his friends are dying.
Yeah.
And, like, it was really sad because he said before he went in the room, like, he was like, you know, despite the curse, like, they were still hopeful and, like, still decided to have the babies.
Yeah.
And, like, even though, like, you know, they knew that, you know, there was, like, this issue, they still decided to do it.
Yeah.
And, yeah. Bad.
And he failed them. Yeah. And, like, well, that's how he feels. Yeah. But, yeah, it's really, really sad.
So then we go to Camilla's point of view. And Envy has returned and he's being a dick, but, like, rightfully so because of what he just dealt with.
Yeah.
Like,
I understand why he is. He doesn't need to be a dick to her. I'm like, just because you've been around long enough, you should be able to control your emotions a bit.
Yeah.
I get it, but, like, it's like in the real world. If you're having a bad day, you can't just lash out at people because you're having a bad day.
No, that's
like,
true.
You need to take some responsibility for your own feelings and emotions.
Yeah.
Like, you can just, he could even just say, sorry, having a hard time. Like, obviously he's not going to do that because he's Envy.
Yeah. So, I guess, like, she can tell that he's upset about something. So, like, even though she's annoyed that he's, like, being a dick, she knows that something has happened. And she asks him what? Like, what happened? And it's like, did another player attack?
Yeah, reasonable.
And I'm like, did I miss the... Like, did you just... After that demon thing attacked them, did they talk about the game?
Well, they talked about the next step.
Like, if I were him, shouldn't he be a little bit like, what does she know about the game?
Yes. They didn't really talk about it, no.
But, like, that's where her mind goes, and he doesn't think anything of it.
No, because they're both stupid.
Yeah. But, like, his response to her isn't, like, anything about the game. His response is, who are your parents? Like, there's no way you're immortal because mortals typically can't conjure reality with a few brushstrokes. Yeah. But then she says that's not what she does. And I'm like, so what do you do? What was that? Yeah. What is it? Because we get no more information. She's like, good thing that's not what I do. And I'm like, okay, so what do you do? Yeah. And
so tell us.
And, like, he doesn't ask either. He doesn't say that. He's just like, fair enough. he doesn't actually say that either, but, like, that's how I feel he reacts.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, okay. And then he just grabs her and, like, what are we calling it?
I know. He says it at some point this week, or she's like, is that what you're doing? But I completely forget what it is.
I'm just going to call it winnowing because I don't have another word for it.
Yeah.
So they winnow. They winnow from his house to the entrance, the gate to the underworld. And, like, she's pissed. And I don't know why. Like, him doing that pissed her off. And I'm like, was it because he just grabbed you and did it? Like, he didn't tell you he was doing it? Like, you knew that you guys were leaving. Like, where did you think you were going?
Yeah, I think it comes up a little later this week. And he's like, he thinks of this moment. And he's like, I could tell that she was ready, though. And that it's almost like I could tell that she consented. I was like, oh my God, what are you saying? He didn't say those words, obviously. But he was like, I could tell that she was ready, so I winnowed us here. I'm like, okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
So then he explains the Sin Corridor to her, and, like, if you read the first trilogy, you're familiar with the Sin Corridor. Mm-hmm. It is essentially just walking through the outside, and there's magic that tests you for each sin to see which house you align with. And going into this, I was like, it's gonna be Envy, because it has to be Envy.
Yeah.
And then she asks, like, what's gonna happen to her life? Like, that they just left. She has no idea when she's coming back. Like, what's gonna happen while they're gone?
A completely reasonable question.
And he says that his staff is gonna, like, come up with a lie on their behalf. And he says, like, when we get back, I will, like, buy some pieces from your business to, like, reimburse you for the loss. And, like, initially she wants to be like, no, I don't want your charity. And he's like, it's not charity, it's good business. Like, I'm the reason why you're selling anything. Let me buy some things to make up for it.
Yeah.
And he tells her they have to go on foot. And he is not going to be allowed to interfere magically with the Sin Corridor until it decides which house she aligns with. Yeah. And he's, like, super anxious as they're walking through the gates. And, like, Camilla sort of sees that. But then she also sees that, like, he doesn't actually have to stay with her. Like, he is more than capable of leaving, going to his house, and waiting for her. Mm-hmm. And, like, just letting her do it on her own. But he's choosing to stay with her. And, like, help her through it.
Would be kind of mean.
It'd be a dick move, but... He asks if she's cold. Yeah. It was so weird. He's like, are you cold? Because, again, the Sin Corridor is just, like, you're essentially walking through a snowstorm all the time. Is what it seems like. And, like, it's, like, 2 feet of snow that you have to, like, trudge through. So it doesn't sound pleasant. And, like, she's in, like, a Regency gown and a cape. And, like, God only knows what kind of boots she got on her feet.
Yeah, probably slippers.
And he's like, are you cold? But she isn't. And she, like, sort of motions to her cape. And she's like, no. But she thinks that if he can withhold information, so can she. So, like, she's insinuating that she does not feel the cold for another reason. Yeah.
And I'm like, is it the locket?
Yeah, like, what the fuck?
Or is it something else?
Is it who she... But, like, so the thing is, it makes it seem like she is very much aware of what she is in real life. Like, it seems like she is very aware of who she is and what she is. Mm-hmm. And she keeps it hidden. You know what I mean? It's not one of those things where we're gonna find out down the road that, oh, maybe she's like, my theory, Queen, what's her name? Primrose? No. Primrose. Yeah. Like, illegitimate daughter with the human, like, and she's gonna be like, what? My mom was Fae? Like, it's not gonna be that kind of revelation. Like, she knows exactly who she is and what she is. And knows the ins and outs of her species or whatever. And she's just choosing not to reveal that information. So, like, I'm really excited to find out finally what she is.
Yeah, me too.
So as they walk through the corridor, she thinks of her family, of how happy her parents had seemed, and how at one point she did think, like, after her father died, she thought of leaving too, because what was going to keep her there. But, like, she knew that the gallery was sort of like her father's dream, and she really wanted to, like, keep that legacy alive. And they walk, and she can feel the sins trying to influence her, but she feels like they're just mild annoyances, and she can just back them away, which is so different from in the trilogy when we see Amelia do it. Like, she has to, like, concentrate so hard to understand that she's being influenced, and, like, sometimes a lot of times it's too much for her. Now that she's, like, a vengeance goddess, like, you know, it's probably different.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's just so interesting how she feels like next to nothing.
Yeah, and it does make me, like, think, like, is it just because the locket is protected? Like, if she took the locket off, would she be fucked? Like,
that's a good point. Like, and Envy can feel the sins testing her. Like, he can feel that magic, and he's confused that she's not really reacting.
And, yeah, I think she's even, like, she's not even reacting even a little bit, so he doesn't know that she can feel it a little bit, kind of thing.
So, like, she's looking around, like, constantly, and she sees all this stuff that she wants to paint, and, like, she feels how empty it is with her magic bound. That's what she says. She feels empty with her magic bound. So she is admitting to us readers that she has magic, which we sort of knew because of her ability to paint. Yeah. But, like, again, it's just confirmation that, like, she knows what she has is magic. It's not one of those abilities that her parents were like, oh, this is just a special talent that you should keep hidden. She knows for a fact that it's magic. So they walk for ages, and Envy leads her to, like, a tiny cabin where they're going to spend the night. And Camilla is nervous about them being so close and, like, her having to resist him because, like, she still thinks he's hot as fuck.
Yeah.
So then we go to Envy's point of view. And he actually built this cabin for the last mortal that he brought here. He built it for her. So that, because again, like, anybody going to the Seven Circles for the first time has to go through the same corridor, and I guess he brought a mortal here last time, and they needed to rest. And he knows that Camilla is keeping a secret about who she is, because she is dealing with the same corridor way too easily. But he's like, once she goes to sleep, she's not going to be able to fight it anymore, and he thinks that's when the corridor is going to have its fun.
Yeah. Which kind of happened in the trilogy.
Yeah.
She couldn't fight it any time, but when she was asleep, it was even worse.
And, like, he's worried because essentially this cabin is just big enough for a bed. Like, there's nothing else in it. And there's there's no room for anything else. So he's like, oh, we're going to be in one bed. We're going to be curled up together. And, like, he's wondering how he's going to resist her. So, like, they're both like, oh, no, one bed. How are we going to resist each other? Yeah. So they just get in bed and make plans for tomorrow. They're not even going to stop at Envy's court. Obviously, he doesn't want her to see it. He doesn't want anyone to see what it's like right now. But they're just going to go right to Sloth's court. And he wishes that Camilla could actually see his court thriving, but he knows he shouldn't want that. So, like, he's already like, oh, I wish she could see it when it was good.
Yeah.
So, like, here's my question. He can tell, obviously, that she has secrets, that she has special abilities, that she might not be wholly mortal. Mm-hmm. Do we think that could potentially change his rules? Because, like, weren't his rules primarily because of his feelings for a mortal person? So knowing that she is no longer a mortal person, could that, like, sort of sway him to maybe amend his rule a little bit?
I don't know, because presumably he's also been with other types of people. So I can't just imagine him being like, and I'll change it. But I don't know.
Anyway, so he just, like, hates Lennox right now, and he hates the entire Unseelie court. And I'm like, well, she's obviously Unseelie, because...
it's gonna make him...
Yeah, it's gonna make him hate her for a bit.
Face his prejudices or whatever.
And then he says,
it's a good point.
Like, when he restores his court, he's gonna destroy theirs, which is gonna involve hurting her. So, like, that's gonna be something...
He's not gonna be able to do 100%. It. Yeah, you're so smart. Good job.
So she asks him what he's getting from playing the game. And again, like, he doesn't second guess the fact that she knows anything about it.
Yeah.
And he just tells her a rare artifact. And I'm like, again, it's definitely his wings. Maybe.
Yeah.
Either that or it's going to be some sort of, like, anti-chalice. Because he mentioned...
I just think I just thought he was lying.
No, I think he said, like, it's, like, kind of the truth. Like, what he said. He was like, a rare artifact. It's not necessarily a lie.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so, like, I feel like it's either going to be his wings. But again, I can't imagine how his wings are going to cure everything.
Yeah.
So either that or it's some sort of, like, anti-chalice where everybody's going to drink from it to cure the fog. Including him, which is going to return his wings. Something like that.
Yeah.
She asks about what happens if they fail. And he tells her that the game master decides what happens. And it's because of the blood oath everyone makes when they start the game. And she was like, well, what if somebody didn't sign a blood oath? And it's her. She didn't sign a blood oath.
Yeah.
And Envy's like, I don't know. As far as I know, everybody who participates has to sign it. So, like, there's something going to be wonky here. And I do think you're right. She's going to be like, 1, I didn't sign a blood oath. 2, all you said for me to do is participate, not win. I think it's... And the Fae, especially, like, Seelie versus Unseelie, they are very strictly bound by wordplay. So, like, they're going to have to honor this, I think.
It's going to come down to something like that with the wordplay. But yeah, it is like her asking these questions to him. It's like, dude, obviously there's something going on here. Like, obviously she's asking for herself. Like, you should realize that.
Yeah. So he tells her then that Lennox, the Unseelie king, is the game master, which we knew. And that stresses her out because she knows that he's the king of chaos. Like, he enjoys causing problems. So she's sort of concerned that he's going to, like, cause more mischief. Yeah. He tells her to get some rest, which pisses her off. And I'm like, why would that piss you off? Like, he's ordering her around. It's like, no, he's making a suggestion that you should sleep. Like...
Yeah.
And she tells him so. And... that makes him sort of tease her and be like, I remember when I ordered you to come. Remember that?
Yeah.
And, like, she was like, oh, shit, yeah. But, like, she's like, oh, shit, I liked that. You know what I mean? Like...
Yeah.
So they just sort of, like, bicker back and forth. And, like, he teases her about, like, the sexual stuff. And she's like, nope, not dealing with this. So she rolls over and goes to sleep. And he obviously doesn't sleep because being next to her is torture. Because he just wants to, like, go to Pound Town.
Yeah.
And so, like, he just watches her as she sleeps. And he can tell that she's being tested for lust. And, like, it's driving him crazy because she's, like, moaning and, like, pushing her bum into his crotch. And, like, feeling herself up. And then she lifts her dress up. And, like, like, watching her do that makes him hard. And he starts, like, rubbing himself through his pants. And then she opens her eyes and sees him doing that. And just climbs on top of him.
Yeah. Which is very reminiscent of...
the trilogy.
the trilogy.
Yeah, because Amelia does the same thing. But she actually is, like, being tested for lust and is locked in a fantasy.
Yeah.
So he tells her to wake up. He thinks she's, like, sleep testing or walking or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she asks, "Who says I'm asleep, Your Highness?" So, like, turns out she's been awake. She's actually awake. Mm-hmm. And then we go to her point of view, and she reveals that she is playing a trick on him this entire time. Which is sort of what I mean about the whole, like, games thing. Like, I don't like it. Like, she was pissed that he told her to get some rest. And that then he started teasing her about the sexual stuff, so decided to get back at him by sexually teasing him.
Yeah.
So, like, she thinks he deserves her playing a trick because he lied to her about who he was. And I'm like, he's not going to walk in and just straight up tell you who he is upon never meeting you. Like, what do you expect?
Well, and if this had gone as he wanted, he would have just walked in and been like, commission this, and she would have made it, and then they would have been out of each other's lives. So.
Anyway, so, like, he deserved it for lying, and then for teasing her before they went to sleep about the whole, like, ordering her to come bit. So she actually felt the lust, like, it was like a little tingle. She felt lust testing her, so she took advantage of it and just, like, used that feeling. But she says, like, now she is still turned on, but, like, the test has faded, so, like, she's not under its influence at all. And
and I was like, oh, are they going to use this as an excuse?
Yeah, but they don't. So she leans down and asks him to answer 2 questions for her.
Worst questions ever. And ask good questions.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, one of these is at least going to be, like, something information based.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope. It's not.
No.
So she says, 1, did you like the way I tasted?
Oh my God. Why?
And he says yes. And she says, 2, do you still think about it? And he says, constantly.
Of course.
So then she just abruptly gets off of him, rolls over, and says, thanks for the honesty. And she's like, I think about it too. So the next morning, they wake up, they leave the cabin, they travel for a few more hours before Envy is like, all right, I think we've traveled enough now. I think the Sin Corridor has had its way with us, or really with you.
Yeah.
Like, I just love that it's so, like, ambiguous. It's like, I think it's been enough now. And then he just transports them, like, winnows them away.
Yeah, you just think that there would be some answer.
Yeah, but nothing. And that's what I, like, wrote down. I was like, they've satisfied the Sin Corridor, but, like, what sin does she have? Like,
yeah.
And then as I was reading, I had a sort of, I don't think this is true anymore, but I was like, oh my God, is she an angel? Like, because she has no sin? Like, that was, because she could bat the sins away, but obviously not, because, like, she does partake in, you know, like, she likes sex and stuff, so, like,
yeah, I
don't think she's an angel, but, like, that was where my mind was going when I was reading this.
No, I do get that. Yeah, interesting.
So then all of a sudden somebody says it's an act of war to show up on a prince's doorstep unannounced. And
I love this.
We know this already, right? Because from the trilogy, we know that, like, whenever Wrath wanted to take Amelia anywhere, he had to send a missive to his brother's court. And again, I don't understand why they feel this way. They're all fluffy cinnamon rolls, so, like, what's the big deal? But so, like, they can't just show up unannounced. They have to send a letter. And I mean, like, I appreciate that for guests too. I don't like it when people just show up unannounced. Like, I appreciate some notice. So I guess,
send me a text.
I guess this is their equivalent. So he says that and then stabs Envy through the chest. And, like, Camilla is upset. She is.
Well, yeah, she doesn't
understand that this didn't do anything to him except for send him back home. But she screams and she goes to him, and he tells the attacker that if he lays one finger on her, he'll annihilate them, and then he disappears. So she, like, fully thinks Envy is dead.
Yeah, which would be quite the twist.
Halfway through the book, and our MMC dies.
Yeah.
But she is like, I assume you're the Prince of Sloth. And she starts getting angry that he killed Envy. But he's like, girl, don't worry. All I did was send him back to his circle, and he'll probably be back here by nightfall, completely healed.
Yeah.
And then he's like, would you like to come in?
Yeah. The change in character, I love. I just love it.
And it does, like, it is helpful because Sloth, we so often take for granted as being, like, lazy, like, not going to do anything. But the author is very clearly, she makes a distinction. And she reminds us several times throughout this piece, this part, that while Sloth is, like, you know, his sin is sort of not doing too much, he is more than able to wield a sword. Like, he can be quite the warrior. So, like, don't assume that he's passive just because he doesn't like to expend a lot of energy. He can when he wants to.
Yeah.
And I mean, we could say that with all of them. Like, just because the Wrath is king of wrath and wrathful doesn't mean he cannot be, he can still be kind and, like, merciful, right? Like, they are, just because they are princes of a sin does not mean that they don't embody all other emotions. So.
Yeah.
So he offers her a tour, and his castle, manor, I don't know what to call it, estate, is like one big library. And I'm just like, honey, I'm home.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, if I had to pick, he's obviously the one I would marry.
Well, yeah. So that's his thing. Like, even in the first trilogy, they were, like, teasing him for reading so much and not going out and having sex. Like, there was a scene about that. So I love it.
But, like,
I love him.
I will say that I am slightly confused in that I don't understand how, like, I don't understand how sloth translates to wanting to collect knowledge.
Yeah.
Like,
I guess it's just not exerting yourself, maybe, but
like, studying and, like, reading, like, to me that is
exerting in a mental way instead of a physical way.
Yeah. That's sort of the only thing that I don't really understand.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of, and I don't know enough about the sins, I guess, and how, like, they were originally portrayed, but it is interesting because I talked about Full Metal Alchemist. I'm watching the Brotherhood one, but they portray Sloth in that as he does a shit ton of activity in that show. He doesn't want to, but, like, his other brothers, in quotes, because one of them is a woman, but his other people are kind of, like, forcing him to do work. And he's one of the better workers, but he just wants to rest. So it's like, I don't know enough about the original personification of the sins, I guess. Like, where did it come from?
Yeah, I don't know.
And, like, has it always been that sloth has been different than what I assume sloth is?
Well, that's a good question. Yeah, I don't...
Because, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, yeah, I just, like... Yeah, I just don't really understand his why his character is the way it is, but I appreciate it.
Yeah. I guess, like, the sins originally came from Catholicism. Mm-hmm. But I don't know the first personification of it and how that, or, like, how they were even described. Because, like, sloth, quote unquote, in our time is much different than it probably was back then.
Oh, that's true.
Like, Sloth in our time is, like, sitting in front of the TV playing video games. Like, you know? Like, they didn't have the same... So I don't know what Sloth meant.
That's
was
true.
It just, like, not working in the fields and being in the libraries? Was that their TV or their, you know? I don't know. I'm just grasping at straws here, but...
Okay, so I looked it up.
Mm-hmm.
The sin of sloth is more than just laziness. It is a deep spiritual apathy, a neglect of one's duties and relationship with God, stemming from a disinclination to exert spiritual or physical effort, often leading to despair, boredom, and indifference to divine goodness and one's own salvation.
Yeah, so that's kind of hard to personify in a godless book.
Yeah, and it says it involves a willful refusal to embrace the joy of God's love, wasting talents, and failing to act on spiritual obligations with diligence, and charity being its opposite virtues.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Hang on.
Okay.
The historical context says that the Latin acedia, which is what sloth was, focused on monks becoming indifferent to their duties. So.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I like this take on it though.
I do
in like
too. I just don't.
Godless world.
Yeah, I just don't really understand how she got there, but I like it.
Yeah.
Anyway. So she noticed, like, when they were out front, she had noticed some artsy, like, column that was out front. And I actually skipped over it because I tend to skip over, like, this, like, descriptive stuff.
Yeah, because, like, she's super descriptive in this book.
Yes.
Like,
and
that's one of her main things.
I think that's the artist eye thing coming in for Camilla, right?
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, she's super artistic and notices all of these details. So I don't skip them when I read them, but I skip them in my note-taking. And then I had to backtrack because they have this conversation about, and Sloth tells her this story about what this column represents. And I can only imagine that it's going to come into play.
Oh, 100%.
Right? Because, like, why else would we have, like, 3 pages on it? So she had noticed this, like, artsy column out front and how beautiful it was, and she asked about it. And Sloth tells her that it is one of his artist's representation of the 2 pillars. And the 2 pillars is an ancient, like, site, I guess, dedicated to the stars and the night sky. But some argue that it represents the Seelie and Unseelie courts. And the pillars attract lightning. And when it strikes, the constellations on them glow. So there's supposed to be these, like, pillars in this, like, site, this, like, ancient site. And, you know, this column, it's not those pillars, but it is, like, an artistic representation of them. And apparently one pillar is supposed to represent goodness and light, aka Seelie, and the other represents evil and destruction, aka the Unseelie. But also, in the legends about the pillars, they offer the Fae a direct pathway to the mortal lands. So she was like, ooh, the real ones would definitely be, like, amazing to see. But Sloth says, oh, sorry, nobody can see them anymore because they are bound beneath my brother's circle of magic, by magic, because Lennox thought the rules didn't apply to him because he's a ruler of his own territory. So Wrath, who's like sitting on them right now, had to make an example of him and take away his access. So right now the pillars are underneath Wrath's circle of hell or of the underworld, whatever you want to call it, and no one can use them. He took them away.
Yeah.
And that's the end. Like, that's it. She's like, no, okay.
Yeah, which is interesting because I kind of assumed that he still had access to the mortal world, but I guess technically the Shifting Isles isn't the mortal world. Like,
we're still unsure about this at this point.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Yeah, because again, according to the trilogy, I thought the Shifting Isles was like essentially the spot where all the dead people go and where the mortal souls live out their existence, and where some mortal people end up. And I really need to go back into Kingdom of the Feared and just read that section. But
yeah, when we were doing the third book in that trilogy, I think every episode I was like, I'm gonna reread those books so that I know what the hell's going on, and I didn't. So yeah. I'm gonna stop saying that because I'm not gonna do it.
I'm just not. It's no point.
No. And you know what? Googling now with AI being so like at the top and so wrong about books all the time. Like I can't even look stuff up anymore.
But I do think that a part of that is that like people don't often post, like it's very rare that you can find like a spoiler for a book. Like I have to work at it sometimes. Like really popular books, you might be able to find like a synopsis, but yeah. I don't. People are not like, they're not spoilers. Like they're not spoiling the book for people. So I do find it can be challenging. Like unless the book has like a wiki page.
Yeah, their own like Shadowhunter wiki or whatever.
Yeah. So
yeah, I get what you're saying. I find Reddit is usually where I'll find, like, people will be talking about it, and I'll normally find answers and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Sloth shows her around his house, and he shows that he has, like, wings of his castle dedicated to each like topic, like science, history, arts, languages, culture. And then down each wing there are rooms broken off for like a subject of each genre. So like science has like chemistry, biology, psychology, physics, like it has all the like sub topics under science, and like languages has like all the languages. So there are like rooms upon rooms upon rooms of books. It is ridiculous. Yeah. And he also has birth records for all supernatural royalty, which again, I'm assuming this is going to come up, because why on earth would he have that, and why on earth would that be required? Something they're telling us. This is going to come up. I am now firmly in camp. Camilla is a Fae princess.
Yeah.
So she calls him Prince Sloth, and he tells her to call him low. And anyway, and she can tell that he's super intelligent, but no less dangerous than his brothers, and like super calculating. So again, this is the author reminding us that like he might be the Prince of Sloth, but he's still like, he's not dangerous.
Yeah.
And he seems very like good-natured to our face, but she's like, I don't trust that. She asks if she can explore, and he asks why, and she tells him the truth, that she's looking for a clue. And I'm like, was that wise? But whatever.
Yeah. It seems like it works out okay, but I was like, really? We're just
telling him. Especially considering, like, Envy is doing his best to hide a lot from his brothers.
Yeah.
So she also asks if Envy is attached to anyone. And I'm like, girl, way to show your hand.
I know.
And Lo is sort of surprised. And he's like, hasn't he told you his rule? Like, he only ever spends one night with a lover. And he's like, I wouldn't get attached because that's never going to change. And she's like, is it because he's had his heart broken before? And he says, partly, but he said it's more like it's his sin. So, like, envy means, like, you're never happy with what you have. You always covet what you don't. So, like, if he's working hard and he is trying to win your affections and your love, once he has that, he's ready to move on. He always covets the next thing. And that would absolutely concern me if I was hearing that about someone that I like had feelings for. Because like it's true that he is by nature, he is Envy. So, like, yeah, it makes sense. So they're interrupted by a demon who has a missive, and it's Envy's missive requesting access. So he's doing it correctly.
So funny.
And Lo just tells her to rest, and to forget his brother and leave him to his games. So,
which obviously she can't do because now she's part of the game.
Now she needs him. So then we go to Envy's point of view, and he is back at his circle, and he is annoyed because he essentially, like, showed up, like, he, like, appeared back in his circle, and immediately his brother Wrath sent a missive to visit him, and then also showed up at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what was the point of the missive if you're just going to come anyway?
Yeah.
And we learn that Wrath wouldn't help Envy the last time Lennox screwed Envy over. And Envy's still sort of holding on to that. And
which we could kind of tell in the trilogy that he was holding on to something. We just didn't know what it was.
Yeah. And, like, we do learn what it is very soon. Yeah. And he said he thought that if anybody could sway Lennox, it would be Wrath. But Wrath refused to help and was trying to be diplomatic. And I guess, like, in doing so, hurt Envy. Mm-hmm. And he says, like, this is the main reason why Envy played the role of a villain, even though he hates it. And, like, he isn't that person. Mm-hmm. And we also learned that Envy is the one who told Greed where Amelia had been hiding, which is what led to eventually breaking Wrath's curse. Mm-hmm. So it was actually really sweet. Wrath had brought cannoli that Amelia had made for him.
Yeah.
And, like, Envy in his head loved it.
Yeah.
He was like, oh my God. He was so excited. On the outside, he had to pretend he didn't care. And I don't really understand why he still needs this persona.
I guess until he figures out his court, he doesn't want to let anyone close. But I really wanted a scene of him sharing the cannoli with Camilla and being like, this is so yummy from my friend.
Yeah. I know.
I wanted that scene so bad, but, like, we don't get it.
He low-key, like, ruins it because he just, like, throws the bag on the table.
I know.
And I'm like, well, I mean, it's still gonna taste good if it's all smushed. You just have to use a spoon instead. But, like...
But we don't even get a scene of him trying it. No. I was so disappointed in that. Yeah. They probably cut it, but I want it.
Yeah. Anyway. So Wrath asks, like, where is everybody? And Envy had to, like, try and hide it. So, like, he had actually made it, like, put up wards. So, like, Wrath literally came in the door, up the stairs, down the hall, into his office. So, like, he didn't have to go far. But Envy had to put, like, a ward on the hallway and the stairs so that anybody who wandered in that direction, like, turned around and went back a different way because he didn't want anybody seeing Wrath. Or really didn't want Wrath seeing anybody and seeing, like, had the fog and everything like that.
Yeah.
So he tells them that there's a new Iron Age exhibition on another level, and that's where everybody is. And Wrath tells him that he's here because he can sense Envy's anger, and he needs to work some of it off. But Envy's like, I don't want your help. Just leave me alone. And, like, that's significant. The fact that Wrath can feel another prince's emotion, like, that is a significant thing.
Yeah.
So he sort of just sends Wrath away again. And, like, luckily, Wrath was only visited, like, a month ago. So he's okay to send him away. He's not, like, checking on an official capacity.
Yeah, and it kind of seems like, because, like, in the trilogy, we did have a scene in Envy of the Wrath and Amelia. So I kind of wonder if that's what they're talking about, that they last visited.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. So, sends Wrath on his way. And he's waiting to heal and also to hear from Sloth that he is allowed entry. So he goes to the kitchen, and he finds a demon face down in the fireplace dead. So he deals with the body and cleaning the kitchen himself. He also found his butler, Franklin, wandering around in a fog for a few minutes until he snaps out of it. Like, he does snap himself out of it, so Envy just sends him to rest. And, like, he doesn't want his brothers figuring out how weak his court has become, which is what we sort of, like...
have been saying.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. So, for some reason, I lied. Wrath doesn't leave yet. So, like, seems like, I think, like, I didn't take note of it, but Envy was thinking about these things while Wrath was talking to him.
Because they love thinking about random things.
They love just thinking while staring at their friends or brothers or whoever's talking to them, and it's really weird. So, yeah, so he thought about how he had to do those things. But Wrath is still standing in front of him. My bad. So Wrath warns him to stop playing games with the Fae because he doesn't want to incite a war. He wants peace. But he's like, Envy is like, that's bullshit. Like, war is your bread and butter. War is your sin. It fuels you. You should want war.
Yeah.
But, like, he's sort of like, oh, like, people can change.
I'm in love now.
Yeah. But, like, I wonder if Amelia's, like, wrath towards him, like, maybe they just have angry sex and it makes it all better.
Yeah. Probably.
And then Wrath asks about the woman he's taken an interest in, because apparently Lust told him she doesn't react to his sin. But Envy outright lies and says he isn't interested in anyone. And again, I think it is said already that Envy has done something to make it so he can lie. They're not supposed to be able to. Yeah. But none of his brothers know that he can lie. Because, again, he shouldn't be able to. And he didn't want to reveal that he has that ability.
But he's an idiot.
And he's just so quick to be like, I'm not interested in anyone. Like, he's so quick to be like, no, that's not true. That he lies. And Wrath knows it.
It's just like, you've spent years crafting your words so that you can lie while telling the truth. And now you're just throwing out the window because you're... Like, it makes it obvious.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so, like, obviously Wrath can tell right away because he can sense emotions. And, like, he's not supposed to be able to lie. And, like, he's shocked. And Envy is shocked because Envy's like, shit, I gave that away. And Wrath just asks, like, if he cares for her. And he says, if he cares if she gets hurt... Like, stop playing this game. But Envy sort of just, like, answers him in non-answers and says he can't stop because his court's future rests on this, essentially. And then Wrath calls him by his true name, Ethan. I'm calling it Ethan. It starts with an A and then it's an E, but I'm just saying it's Ethan.
Fair.
And that pisses Envy off more. And he's like, don't use my name. Don't come here and lecture me. Like, don't do that. That's not cool.
Yeah.
And Wrath is just like, you're in love with her. And he's like, I think the wedding invitations will come out in 3 months.
Oh my god.
And then he tells them that there's a bet going. And Pride thinks it'll be a year. And Greed thinks it's not happening at all. And Envy thinks to himself he would rather drink from the fatal chalice. What the fuck is that?
Well, and he talked about his
other chalice
drinking from a chalice. So I'm like, did your friend drink from the fatal chalice? Like, that's not a great name to drink from.
No. Why would you drink from that type of chalice?
Yeah, I don't understand. We need more info on the chalice.
Well, chalice is plural because apparently that was a different one than this one.
Is it?
I didn't think you said it was. I thought you said it was.
No, he just said chalice. He didn't say which chalice it was. So I was like, is it the same chalice? And why would you drink from it?
What if it's a different chalice though? Like, what if they have multiple chalices?
Chali.
Yes, chali. So he's like, I'd rather drink from the fatal chalice than marry. Even though Camilla would definitely be diverting. So he's like, I'm never getting married, but if I had to, probably be Camilla. So then Alexei lets him know that he has gained entry to Lowe's circle. So Wrath goes to leave, but before he leaves, he stabs an Umbra demon that was spying in the corner, like, invisibly. And during their conversation, Wrath had mentioned that, like, he knows that Envy has sent spies to, like, spy on Amelia, spy on, like, the brothers. Like, he's just got spies everywhere feeding him information. So Wrath, like, kills this not imaginary, it's real, but invisible Umbra demon.
Yeah.
And says, like, don't spy on my wife anymore.
Yeah.
And then, like, leaves.
I think it's super funny because then there's just another one right next to the dead one. It's like, you got one, sure, but...
Didn't know there was two.
Yeah.
So Wrath goes, and then the remaining Umbra demon becomes visible again. And once Wrath leaves, he asks for a report. And the demon's like, since you left Waverly Green, Vexley has disappeared and they can't find a trail, which is super sketch.
Yep.
And they haven't been able to find anything out about Camilla's mother, which is also super sketch.
But it's obvious. I was like, you're not going to find anything. I thought that he was going to get them to look somewhere, but he's just checking the shifting aisles. I'm like, you're not going to fucking find anything there.
That's
Why
true.
are we even bothering?
Yeah. But they also said they found no hair or blood in her house to test to see what kind of creature she could be. So, like, Camilla ain't leaving no hairs anywhere.
No, she's grown up in the school of Diana.
Yeah, Diana from Discovery Witches. Which I still actively think about. And I'm like, should I be flushing my hairbrush hair down the toilet?
I put mine in the compost, so...
So anyone
could
spell
duplicate
you.
Me. Or spell me.
Hex you. Oh my god, you're gonna get hexed.
It's fine. The world can't get much worse, so,
So the thought was maybe to cut a lock of her hair to test it. But he's just really wary that, like, any magic done on any piece of her, even cut off, would be interfering with the game. So he just tells the demon to, like, look elsewhere, which is fair. I feel like they need to go to Catherine's house and look at her hairbrush there.
True, yes.
That's a good point. Yeah. So we go to Camilla's point of view, and she's annoyed because she got word that Envy was here. Like, this was later, way later. And she was in a room or something. And she got word that Envy is here and has actually been here for a few hours, and he hadn't come and let her know. Mm-hmm. And she understands now that, like, he doesn't care about her. And his priorities are just the game. So she goes to the room that he's in researching. He's looking for the clue. And she tries to goad him and just tease him by talking about how handsome Lo is. And he asks her if she knows why they call him Lo. And, like, obviously not.
No.
She only just met him today. And he says it's because he loves laying his enemies low. And, like, he's super devious. So he's like, don't trust his pretty face, essentially. But, like, why would you trust any of their pretty faces?
Yeah.
So Lo walks in at that moment and tells them that his staff are searching everywhere for something out of place. And, like, that's what they think the clue is going to be. And he's like, since we're going to be looking around the clock, we're just going to have food sent up to them instead of having a formal sit-down dinner. And it's funny because Envy is like, don't lie. You just like having this as an excuse not to have a formal dinner. And he's like, I mean, it's a happy side effect.
Fair.
Yeah, and like I agree. I don't want to have a formal sit down dinner when you could just bring up like picky things and have like picky dinner all the time.
I love it. Girl dinner.
Yeah, girl dinner. So he goes to like make arrangements for food, and Camilla asks why Envy is even in this room. And he shows her that he's reading a book about Fae history, about the unseelie king, Lennox, so that he can find a weakness and exploit it. And she's like, what do you even have against this guy? And like, I sort of go back and forth between like her knowing who she is versus not, because she seems like she doesn't have an opinion about him when she asks. You know what I'm saying? Like, she doesn't think one way or the other about Lennox. Yeah. It's like she's a blank canvas. But earlier, she mentioned sort of Lennox in a more familiar way.
Yeah, and when she was talking to the Cursed Throne, the throne was like, you knew this was going to happen. You knew he would not drag you in, but like something akin to that. Yeah. So there's familiarity, but it seems to be oddly missing here.
Yeah. Anyway. So she asks like, what do you have against this guy? And he doesn't really answer her, but tells her the next time they meet, one of them are not going to walk away. I'm like, how do you kill a Fae in this world? And like, does the Fae guy have a sword to kill him? Like, how are they getting around that? Yeah. So then they get a little flirty, which I don't get, because she came down really annoyed, but then all of a sudden they get flirty. It's like she can't help herself.
Tell her about it.
Yeah. And like she tells Envy that she knows about his one night rule, and he sort of bypasses like the meaningfulness of it and just says, oh, I like a challenge. And he was like, and afterwards, their envy about me moving on sustains my sin. Mm-hmm. And I don't really know how, but we circle back around to Lennox again. And again, I don't really know how. And I was reading it when I was taking my notes, and I still don't really know how we circle back around to Lennox. But he tells her that Lennox took something from him, not once, but twice.
Interesting.
And then he actually does tell her, because he wasn't going to tell her, but then he does. Yeah. And he says, I'll tell you the story of the last time I was infatuated with a mortal.
The last time?
Yes.
Meaning this time?
Is the current time. But like, again, she's not going to be immortal, so it's not going to matter. Yeah. So he tells him that before him and Lennox were enemies, Envy used to party occasionally in the Wild Court. Apparently they have some ragers. Some real good times over there. So he had I'm going to say he had a girlfriend. Mm-hmm. And one day they both got an invitation to one of his parties. And she wanted to go, but he did not. Or he did not that he didn't want to go. He didn't want her to go. Yeah. And he said he's not sure why he didn't want her to go. And he was like, maybe my sin was like clouding my judgment because she wanted to go somewhere that wasn't my house, or like wasn't somewhere with like that I was
king of princess.
Yeah, like, you know, maybe it wasn't my party. She wanted to go to someone else's party. Mm-hmm. So he was like, he couldn't pinpoint why he didn't want her to go. But she was annoyed, essentially, that he was like, no, you can't go. Yeah. So she went on her own without him. And, like, I do think that was stupid on his part. One, I think he should have said, we're not going together. Instead of, like, phrasing it like, I don't want you to go. Yeah. It should have been like, it's not really our scene, my love. How about both of us stay home? How about I take you out to dinner instead, or something like that?
Yeah, like, I don't think we should go. I think there's something up. Yeah. Like, this seems sketchy or something. Yeah. But, like, to be like, no, you shouldn't go. Like, telling people what to do is the easiest way to make them do the opposite.
Exactly. And
calm down.
And also, if she was insistent and really wanted to go, he should have taken her to keep her safe.
100%. Yeah.
Instead of thinking that just forbidding her to go would do anything.
Work. Yeah.
So apparently she drank and ate and danced in the unseelie court, which we all know if you drink their food, if you drink their food.
That too.
If you drink their wine, if you eat their food, then you are trapped there. We're lucky that she didn't keep dancing forever and ever and ever.
Until she died. Yeah.
So she was trapped there, and when Envy saw her, like, Lennox let him in enough just to see her there, and he immediately banished him. So this is when he tried to get Wrath to intervene and break the wards to let them get there to get her, and Wrath refused. So, like, Wrath did not want to save a mortal person.
Yeah, but I think it was kind of a weird comment in Camilla's head, because she thinks that she doesn't know if he'd even be able to. I think in this moment she's like, I don't know if even Wrath would be able to break the wards to get in there.
No, but I guess he didn't try.
Well, no. I just think it's odd that Camilla knows that much about the Fae wards.
Yeah. Good.
It was just an interesting, I was like, why would she be making this, like, what do you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. She knows so much.
Yeah, and we don't understand why. And I know, like, we have to get all the answers in this book because it's not a standalone, but it's a standalone. Yes. You know what I mean? So, like, we're going to get the answers, but I'm like, we're halfway through this book.
I need all the answers.
Where are the answers?
Yeah. So, when Lennox tired of the mortal, he could have let her stay in Fairy and live forever. And we're assuming that when we say tired of her, he used her as, like, a sex toy, sex slave.
Yeah. Assuming.
But the Queen made him bring her back to the mortal world. And since time moves differently, she could have spent hundreds of years in Fairy. So bringing her back essentially aged her immediately, and she died.
Yeah.
So he asked... Sorry,
I was just going to say it'd be interesting if the Queen is her mother. Like, that's really cruel to do to humans. But presumably that would be before Camilla was born.
Maybe.
But there was no reaction from Camilla, so I don't know if she, like, if that is her mother, I don't think she knows.
No, that's true. So he asks her to promise him to never trust an unseelie royal. And I'm like, so definitely her.
Yeah.
That's when he leaves. But she's confused because he told her Lennox stole from him twice, but only told her one thing, like the mortal woman.
Yeah.
So she's like, what's the other thing? And she thinks it's important for her to know so that she can sort of understand what's so important about this game for him. So we go to Envy's point of view now. And he is sort of shocked with himself. He doesn't really understand why he shared that story with Camilla about that human he was, I'm saying, in love with. He didn't say that. And, like, he said that not one other person fully knows the truth about it. Now, I wonder, like, if some of them know part of the truth. Yeah. But, like, nobody knows the full thing. He even, like, hired, the whole reason Alexei is his second is because he wanted to make sure he had, like, a voice from the vampire court so that if they ever go to war with the Unseelie, they have the vampire support on his side. Mm-hmm. And he said that, like, Lennox, like, wasn't always this, like, I'm saying monster for lack of a better term. Like, he hasn't always been this terrible person.
Yeah.
But, like, he's become more sadistic and, like, over the years. So, he has spent all these years, becoming more strategic and calculating so that when it comes time to face Lennox and, like, go up against him, he will come out on top. Mm-hmm. And he thinks that, like, he probably told Camilla the story because he wants her to not trust the Fae. Because I think that was probably one of the things that, like, his girlfriend from before, she probably didn't have this sort of innate distrust of the Fae. And that was a mistake, right? She went to a party thinking it would be fun without realizing that they always have an agenda.
Yeah. Really something he should have told her before taking her to his realm.
Yeah, but, like, I guess my question is, like, because he said that he didn't really have a bad relationship with them either. So what caused them to turn on him and, like, steal his girl, if I may?
Yeah. I don't know. And was this the first time this must have been the first time, because after that he shouldn't trust them, one would assume.
Right. Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, anyway. So he thinks that, like, if she knows not to trust them, maybe she'll survive if she has to meet them. Mm-hmm. So Sloth then comes into Envy's room, and, like, he actually gave Envy and Camilla a joined suite. Mm-hmm. So, like, they share a sitting room, but then off of the sitting room, they each have their own bedroom, and I'm assuming bathroom.
Yeah.
But there is, like, a door to go into their, like, from the hallway into their joined sitting room. And he tells Envy he tried to use his sin on her, but she resisted it. So, like, it's the same story. Like, Lust tried, Envy tried, now Sloth has tried, and, like, she's not taking any of them. She's not taking any of their sins. Mm-hmm. And he says he thinks the simplest answer is a dark amulet or a spell inked on her skin. And, like, valid point. We think it's the locket.
Yeah. And it's wild that it doesn't immediately come to him because Lord Gary was trying to steal it. Like,
yeah.
It's clearly something.
Yeah. But so, like, he's like, it's either a dark amulet or something inked on her skin. And it says, do you know if she has any tattoos? And he's like, no, obviously not. And, like, I think that's valid. He hasn't had sex with her yet, so he hasn't gotten to see all of her body. So, no, he wouldn't know. And Sloth is like, you should, you know, I know you want her. You should get on that. And then while you guys are, like, having sex, you can look at her for tattoos. Look at her body. Mm-hmm. And that annoys Envy. That, like, Sloth wants to turn something essentially that Envy wants in a pleasurable way to turn it into some sort of, like, seeking information sort of a thing.
Yeah.
And he suggests maybe Camilla could be, Sloth, I mean, suggests that Camilla's probably a larger part of the game. And, like, he needs to have sex with her. Just to get it out of the way. But Envy sort of dismisses that because he doesn't want her to be a player. And, like, we know that she is kind of a player right now.
Yeah.
But I think that is also going to be a challenge. I think when he comes up with that fact, like when he has to confront that fact, I think that's going to be a real challenge for him.
Yeah.
So he does think, like, maybe he doesn't want her to be a player, but maybe he does need to explore that option of maybe she is. Mm-hmm. And Sloth is like, have you sensed any power that she could have? And Envy says no. But he does say that she has a talent for painting. But he won't elaborate, because we know the talent is more than just a talent.
Yeah.
But he's not going to tell her secret, which I appreciate.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Loose lips sink ships. So, for some reason then, like, I guess Sloth shows Envy the most recent article that was published by Gluttony's journalist. Mm-hmm. And apparently she's writing about the game, which is convenient. And apparently she outlines the rules of the game and wonders if Lennox has something more sinister in mind, like attacking the Seven Circles while they're distracted by the return of House Vengeance. Because for some reason, like, she wrote in her article that the Seven Circles, I guess 8 now, is very, like, distracted by Vengeance's return. Mm-hmm. And that they're sort of weak, maybe, and, like, it would be a good time while they're distracted to strike. She also says in her article that strangers have been seen in the Seven Circles, and, like, one was staying at House Gluttony, and then headed into the forest and hasn't been seen since. She also suggests that things are happening with Envy because he locked down his court right at the start of the games. No one has seen him flying lately. Could his wings and the game be connected? And I'm like, do all the others fly around? Because I thought none of them had their wings right now, except for Wrath, who got them back at the end of the trilogy.
Yeah, I don't know, because it seems like none of them are really flying around, based on what Envy says to Sloth. Or whatever they call him. Low. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just odd that, like, she's like, no one's seen him flying around lately. But, like, if we're to be believed, he probably hasn't had wings in, like, I would say at least 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
Is how it's sort of being portrayed. So, like, why would you think he's got wings to fly around on? He hasn't used them in ages.
Yeah, I don't really understand everything about it, because, like, I just don't know.
Well, so this is sort of the thing. So Sloth is like, oh, is that true? And Envy tries to, like, avoid the question, but Sloth is like, summon your wings. And then Envy sort of gets irate with him and says, summon your wings. And I'm like, valid point, man.
Yeah.
Like, you can't demand that he summon his when yours are also gone.
Yeah. But, yeah, that's why, I don't know, that's why I'm confused by everything. Because, like, I originally assumed that only Wrath lost his wings in the trilogy at the beginning, when he was cursed. And then I assumed that Envy just... his wings weren't working because of his court, but I don't know why Low's wings aren't working. And if that's if none of them have wings, then why are we picking on Envy for not flying?
Yeah,
I don't really understand.
No, it is confusing.
Yeah.
So Sloth then suggests that maybe Camilla could be Fae or half Fae, but Envy is like, no, she's not. But he does say maybe she's, like, shifter or half shifter or something. And says to Sloth that, like, sometimes he gets a vibe that she has, like, a shifter temperament. And it would also explain her mother leaving when she did, because a lot of shifters find it hard to stay in one place. And she left as soon as Camilla turned 18, which meant she was, like, legally an adult.
Yeah.
And, like, makes sense to me. Valid point. So Sloth suggests, like, if he won't sleep with her to see if she has a tattoo, he has, like, another plan. He has something else in mind. And that makes Envy really angry. He's like, no, well, the fuck you don't. Like,
yeah,
you know, because I guess,
like, what could it possibly be that is gonna make Low or someone Low has assigned see her naked? Like,
yeah,
obviously he's gonna be jealous.
Yeah. So Camilla then walks in, and I guess she overheard them talking. So she knew they were sort of talking about her and, like, talking about getting her naked. And she, like, Envy is a little bit rude to her. And that makes Camilla tell Sloth that, like, she's not in the mood for a steam anymore. So, like, that was his plan to see her naked, was to get her in his steam room.
Yeah, and it might have been somebody else see her naked. Because I think Envy would be better with it if somebody else saw her in the steam room than Lo. I think if Lo saw her, he would lose his absolute mind.
Yes. So, like, he decides that he's gonna bow out of the situation and just, like, says, I'll send up refreshments, and leaves. But then a few minutes later, some handsome guy goes there with refreshments, and he also brings her a robe. And he is eyeing up Camilla in, like, a sexy way. And that makes Envy super jealous, and he just punches the guy in the face. And then he shuts the door and tells Camilla to sit down because they need to talk, because he wants to learn her secrets. And he's acting like a jealous boyfriend, and I don't think he has the right to act like a jealous boyfriend.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Which is sort of annoying me. Like, he has made no commitments to her, she has made none to him, and yet he is, like, getting pissy and, like, punching people that look at her.
Yeah, and he's already said it's only going to be one night, so, like, why can't she spend another night with somebody else? Like,
yeah.
And it's not her fault if somebody looks at her.
No. She can't help it if the way she gets attention.
Yeah.
So we go then to Camilla's point of view. As he said, I want to learn all your secrets. So then we go to her point of view. And Camilla assumes that Envy is pissy because the reason she came into the room that I didn't write down is because she was, as soon as she walked into the room and saw Lo there, she was like, I was looking for you.
Yeah.
And Envy was like, you're looking for him in your room? Like, in our room? Like, that's where you expected him to be? So, like, he was jealous.
Yeah.
So, she figures that's why he's pissed. And she just says to him, like, I wouldn't have gone to the steam room with your brother. Like, I respect you. I would not have gone with him. I think she recognizes that, like, even though they don't have a relationship, like, they have something.
Yeah.
So he asks, like, why are you so comfortable around demons? Because, like, it's true. She found out he was the Prince of Envy. She didn't bat an eye.
Yeah.
And, like, wasn't like, they're not real. Like, she didn't do any of that. She was like, all right.
Yeah, and she was more like, oh shit, I really should have realized this before.
Yeah, so he wants to know why she acts that way, but she doesn't answer him. Because, again, she's secretive as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
So, her, I guess, response is she asks him, what prize are you fighting for in the game? And she says, like, I'm not going to tell you my secret without you telling me one in return. Like, this is not a, like, I'm just going to spill my heart to you moment. Mm-hmm. Like, if we're trading secrets, then we need to have an even exchange.
Which I appreciate, but we know Envy's secrets. We don't know hers as readers. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah. And so, like, he just doesn't say anything because obviously he doesn't want to share his secrets. Mm-hmm. So that sort of makes her storm back to the room. I will say that I find their emotions really weird here. Like, I find the rate to which both of them are annoyed with each other and then okay again, I find it odd.
Yeah, I get that.
So, like, she storms away. So, presumably, she's upset. Right?
You'd assume, yeah.
And then she storms away. And then he follows her. And then he's sort of like, I want to say it's a little bit condescending, but he offers to rub her down with oils in her room. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, dude, she's mad at you.
And she knows you're trying to check her.
Like, now is not the time. So I just don't love it.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't really get it.
So she asks him to be transparent then and says, you cannot give me half-truths and withhold information and expect me to tell you everything about me, which is valid, 100%. And she also says that for somebody who hates the Unseelie as much as you do, you act like them. And she was like, I can tell that you've been hurt, but you need to forgive that person for your sanity. And, like, and for your kingdom, and for your brothers, and for me. Like, you need to let that shit go. So, she goes to her room and closes the door. And she actually says that she is committed to winning the game for both of them before going back to Waverly Green. So, like, she is now sort of, again, I don't understand, 'cause she was pissed at him, like, 5 seconds ago, and now she's like, I'm going to win this game for both of us. She wants to figure out a way to win it for both and get both of their treasures.
Yeah, which, like, I didn't realize was possible.
But it's not. I think she's just saying, like, I'm going to win for both of us or I'm not going to win at all. I don't think anyone has ever won for two people before.
Yeah.
Like, that's
That's
common.
kind of what I was, yeah. So it's probably going to be like the situation that we were saying earlier of she didn't vow and he said she just had to finish kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, it's just weird that she went from, like, being annoyed and storming away to, I'm going to win this game for us.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah. So, we go then to Envy's point of view, and he goes to his room, and he drinks, and he actually likes that she keeps some things a mystery. Like, he likes that he has to work for it. And I'm like, I'm so happy for you. I don't. I don't.
You're all over the fucking place, my guy.
Yeah. Oh, it's brutal. Like, absolutely brutal. And he manages to, like, work himself up into going out and, like, looking for those random players that he read about in that journal or in the newspaper article. He was like, I'll do it. I'm going to go out, I'm going to look for them in the woods, and I'm going to dispose of them.
Yeah. I'm like, I hope it's Bexley.
Yeah, me too. But then he goes out into the living room, like their shared living room, and she is out there wearing next to nothing, reading a book. And she's got oils out. Because, remember, back when she was storming away, he offered to rub her down with oils. But she didn't really take him up on it. But for some reason, 5 minutes later, she is.
Yep.
And the scene is so confusing to me. Like, the whole thing is so confusing.
Yeah.
And, like, she doesn't even have underwear on.
Yeah, it's a choice.
It is a choice. So he decides to, like, play the game she's playing, and he starts to rub her down. And he looks for tattoos, like, while he does it, which would prove that she's Fae, apparently. Because nobody else can have tattoos.
And it's like, I assume it's a specific type of tattoo he's looking for, because it seems like you could tattoo a glamour or something. It's interesting.
I suppose. So he pours, like, oil all over her and takes some of the clothes that she's wearing off, even though she's hardly wearing any. Mm-hmm. And, like, he rubs her down from head to toe. And, of course, he finishes it up with the badge.
Yeah.
And he fingers her and he teases her until she is very close to coming. And then he stops because he is an asshole. Yep. And then he gives her the oil and he tells her to use it when she touches herself later to remind her of him. And then he goes back to his room, and she is left cursing his name.
Good.
Yeah, not my favorite place to end. Like, is it manipulation, like, on purpose?
They're both just trying to get the upper hand, and I just, like, don't care for games. So it's not really my jam. I'm like, no. Both of you are being dumb. Why are we doing this?
Yeah, I don't like it.
And, like, I get that it is, like, A, it happens in the real world in relationships, but B, it also is, like, a book thing. I get that, but I don't know. I'm just like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, I really am not crazy about it at all.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, that is where we're leaving off this week. So, I guess we'll find out. Hopefully we're going to get some answers next week. Because, like, next week is week 3.
Yeah.
I would really just hope for some answers.
If we don't, then what the fuck?
Then I'm going to throw the book across everywhere.
Throw down.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to get something. Because, like, I don't know. There's just so much happening. And then we're only... How many... Do you remember last week? How many clues and things are there? Is it 5?
They said it's usually, like, 4 to 6. And we're only on clue 3.
Yeah.
So, we got about half a book to get the other half the clues.
Yeah, if they go that high.
Yeah.
Interesting times. So yeah, I guess that is it for this week. If you want to get in touch with us, as per usual, or share any of your thoughts, you can reach us at coffeeandcoread@gmail.com, or on Instagram or Facebook at coffeeandcoread, and coffee.coread on TikTok.
So next week we are reading Throne of the Fallen, chapters 37 to 52. So make sure to follow along, and if you're enjoying our chats, don't forget to follow, rate, and review wherever you get our content. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you on the next page.